By George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland, an Odyssey sports station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brian Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Black Monday in the NFL sees a couple head coaches get their walking papers. The Patriots didn't even wait until Monday. They fired head coach Gerard Mayo on Sunday after the Pats beat Buffalo and played their way out of the number 1 overall pick. The Jaguars fire head coach Doug Peterson, but they will retain general manager Trent Baalke. In New York, Giants ownership will retain both head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Schoen. The Chicago Bears have reportedly asked for permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy about the Bears' vacancy, but McCarthy says he would prefer to be in Dallas. In local personnel news, the Seahawks fire offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just one season with the franchise. Seattle finished 14th in total offense this season and 18th in scoring. In college football news, Oregon running back Jordan James and defensive tackle Derek Harmon have both declared for the NFL Draft. Meanwhile, Ducks defensive back Jamar Muhammad accepted an invite to the East-West Shrine Game. On the hardwood tonight, Game 3 of the Blazers' 5-game road trip. After splitting the first two, they are in the Motor City visiting the Pistons. Tip-off at 4 here on the West Coast. Detroit, a 6.5-point favorite. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. The hitting is extra hard this week on Primetime.
Oh, he gets walloped.
This is a Wild Card Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Injured? Don't trust just anyone to something so personal. Call George McCoy at Warren Allen. Online at WarrenAllen.com.
Wild Card Week with Isaac and Sue on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Oh, and he took a hard hit. Hello.
The Fan.
Hey, what it do?
Ahoy!
What's up?
We've been walloped, according to the Open.
I didn't hear it. What did it?
Oh, it was all about hard. We're extra hard hitting, and they were saying that we were walloped. We were Van Ginkeled.
I don't think we are extra hard hitting.
Well, that's disappointing. So we're not going to get Van Ginkeled.
I mean, we might be,
Man.
but I doubt it.
No.
Well, way to throw that copywriter under the bus then.
Was that you?
No, it wasn't me.
Someone. I don't know why it's extra hard hitting, but I'm telling you, according to the Open,
Because it's Wild Card Week, baby.
we're extra hard
we got
hitting
the-
today.
Wait. What's the lead this week? The college football playoff or NFL playoffs?
Well, the NFL playoffs is going to do a bigger number.
Well, of course, but I just
And
mean,
that's what's getting sponsored
on our
here.
show.
So,
Oh, really?
well,
So obviously it's the NFL playoffs.
I would think so.
Boy, that college football playoff is kind of, I don't know.
Oh, it did monster.
After yesterday,
It did monster numbers
Yeah,
too.
the Rose Bowl
But I'm just
numbers
saying-
in a blowout were absurd.
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like after yesterday, it kind of refocuses back on the NFL, and now I'm all NFL. And
But
I'm
we have
oh,
like
crap.
5 of the greatest days in a row, though, because
Yeah.
Thursday it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
semifinal, Friday semifinal.
yeah.
All you need to know of what is
Yeah.
really taking the lead, one hid from the other. And I promise you it wasn't wild card, or is it are we calling it super wild card weekend still?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember-
that was the thing when we
remember-
added the
yeah,
extra
it
wild
was
card team.
super.
Yeah.
It was extra
No.
hard hitting, it was super. Is that
Isn't it
just
still
wild
super?
card weekend?
Wait, what do you mean one hid from the other? What does that mean?
Well, the college football playoff is on simply the days that it's on to avoid
oh, yeah.
wild card
Thursday.
weekend.
Yeah, they're not
Friday.
playing on Saturday, their day, because the NFL, oh, by the way, has 2
Well,
games.
I'm
Much
not-
like the NBA, everyone cowers from the NFL, including the first year of the college football playoff. That's how enormous the NFL is. They're like, oh my God, finally we have a playoff. And the NFL is like, I give you the Buccaneers and we're going to kick your ass with it. And everyone's like, it's a valid point.
Well, I'm not really happy about college football playoffs being during our show,
I know.
Thursday and Friday.
Well, actually, it's
However-
not during Thursday.
However,
However,
I have news. For Notre Dame Penn State on Thursday, we will not be here.
no show Thursday.
Yes. We get to watch it at home.
Well, we have Ducks basketball leading in to no show Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Ducks are playing Ohio State. Do you remember Ohio State?
I do remember Ohio State.
So a chance to avenge the 34-0, or wait, 41.
I think it was 41-21.
15? No, they didn't get 21.
They didn't get
did
21?
41-21.
They
That's
got
right.
21?
That's
They got
right.
21.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was close.
Kept it within 3 scores.
Yeah, it was close.
41-21.
They won the second half.
The 40.
I have heard that narrative, and it's adorable.
It's not a narrative. It's just
Some people.
Oh,
Joel Klatt was talking about that.
Down here.
Well, Joel Klatt loves him some Oregon Ducks. I think him and Dan Lanning, I think they make spoons. Like he loves him, and he did not many teams in college football could make that respectable. I'm like, come on, Joel. Like, the Ducks are a great team. I think the Ducks may be the second best team in the country, but please don't try to spin that as that was some sort of competitive game.
That's just silly.
Stop.
Look, that's
Stop.
over. That's over.
Stop.
You know what gets avenged?
What?
That
That.
on Thursday, right here on the Fan, when Ducks basketball
Kick their
takes to
ass.
Columbus to kick Ohio State right in the teeth yet again on their home floor.
This is like when
Or wait, in their home
gym.
city.
Yeah, whatever.
Because they beat them in football there.
Yeah, and Rose Bowl.
I mean, they own Ohio State, just not in the college football playoff.
not in that thing.
Because they beat them in football too this year.
Twice.
What?
Well, they beat him.
Well, they didn't beat them twice this year.
Well, no, but they beat him in Autzen, and then they beat him in
their last 4
Columbus.
games,
own
they're
'em.
500 against
Hey,
them.
listen, Ohio State, we own you.
That's right.
We.
Just
Why am
not
I?
the
I'm
we.
not.
Yeah,
He had
Oregon's beat them twice in the regular season. Ohio State's beat them once in the playoff and once in the national championship
Yeah.
the last 4
editorial.
times.
Yeah,
You got a ways to go.
But
Ohio
still
State.
just 2-2.
This is like when you lose the Super Bowl and then they try to then they play in week 1 and they're like revenge game. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sure beating them in week 1 really goes a long way to
That'll show them.
That'll show
Who
'em.
knew
Yeah.
that the Ducks' 41-21 loss would rest on the vengeance of the Ducks' 20-point loss to Ohio State in the playoff would rest on the shoulders of the great Jackson Shellstaff. And yet it does.
It's like a Red Dawn sort of thing. Avenge me! Avenge me! Well, that's all you can really ask for when you're murdered is the avenge my death. And here we go. Let's go. Let's go Ducks basketball.
We have a Thursday. We have a no-show Thursday.
Yeah.
But we'll be here Friday, and then during Ohio State Texas, we're going to be on the air.
Yes.
So you're not going to get from us.
No. Well, you'll get what we always get is us watching the game.
Basically, instant analysis from
we get
us.
instant analysis. Yeah, that's
our
what we're
hot
doing.
takes as they happen in real time.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, I'm geeked. The semifinals are great. You kidding me? Give me Notre Dame, Penn State, and then Ohio State and Texas. And I know that's it's a
Is
bummer.
that who's playing?
That is who's playing. It's a bummer that we don't have Oregon in it, but for the first year of the playoff, I mean, you got blue bloods, and it's kind of fun that the SEC, for all of their flag waving, they still don't admit that Texas is part of the SEC, and they're the only one left standing. Yeah, flags. The only thing that could have made it better has had Arizona State just eliminated the SEC altogether, and then we really could have laughed. The SEC is in an existential crisis right now. They feel like the grip is starting to just loosen up just a bit.
Is it weird that I'm more excited for Ohio State, Texas than I am Notre Dame, Penn State?
No. Why is that?
Well, because I think a lot of people think Ohio State's just going to roll through this tournament, but Notre Dame, Penn State on paper is the closer matchup. But
Sure.
I'm more interested. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. Kind of a boring one to me. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah.
Although we said that about Ohio State, Oregon, and it wasn't.
No, it was not.
So I don't know.
Well, here's my thing. Ohio State went fully operational Death Star mode. No one's touching them. But look, how many games have they played now? 12 regular season games, so 14 games. They've looked like that maybe 3 times. So, I mean, they're peaking at the right moment. But let's also not discount the fact that Ryan Day can lay an egg at any given time. And Texas that does not look very good right now and has had their running game shut down now by Arizona State and Georgia. And Ohio State's just a better version of both of those. I think this is going to be Ohio State in a rout, but every time you think something, watch Texas show up and play a great game.
That's right.
They're not physically going to be overwhelmed.
Conventional wisdom is almost never right. Sometimes it's right, but conventional wisdom was Oregon, Ohio State would be the game of the year. No. Well, the first one was.
Well, the first one was, so we just assumed that, especially with Ohio State, losing to Michigan and then they get it right against Tennessee. It's like, which way does it go? Well, we found out which way it went.
It could possibly be a try to blow it off between Ryan Day and Steve Sarkisian. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Where neither team wants to win, kind of like the first half of Lions-Vikings last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
neither team really wanted to win.
That was, I'm going to jump around, but that
You're
First-
jumping around.
Oh well, you're gonna
House of Pain.
Yeah, you're gonna get me into
Jump around. Jump around.
Excuse me,
Well,
Oregon
we'll have-
turned that into an advantage. They're the only ones to ever do it. Oh wait, everyone does.
They
it.
embraced the
They
jump
embrace
around.
it. No
Hey,
one else has ever done
I was
that. at
watching
Camp
the
Randall.
game yesterday against Maryland.
Yeah.
Because, real sport basketball.
Yeah, Rock Chalk.
They do that. They do that at Matthew Knight, too. Did you know that?
What?
House of Pain,
Oh, I did not know that.
They
So
do the jump around at
Really?
Matthew Knight?
right? Don't
Did they do shout?
Was it?
Well,
Shout?
I mean,
Wait, House of Pain's Wisconsin.
that's Wisconsin's thing.
What were you talking about?
yeah,
Wisconsin?
yes,
Oh, I thought you were talking about Oregon.
no.
When
they
Oregon
do
played
shout.
Wisconsin for the...
Are you okay? Are you
No.
having a stroke?
I don't think so.
When
I mean,
Oregon
maybe.
when Oregon played Wisconsin and
Yeah.
it was close going into the fourth quarter and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did jump around.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
Wisconsin's
yeah.
thing.
The Oregon players jumped around and somehow the media turned it into the genius of Dan Lanning.
Oh, not the media. Ducks versus
Yeah.
them made it
They're
like
like
the big
they're
thing.
like we embraced the moment. And you're like, dude, literally every team that goes into Wisconsin does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry.
can we just
Sorry,
turn
but I
down
was-
the genius like half a notch?
I was watching the Ducks yesterday. I guess they do shout then.
Probably. Or if the Ducks were playing Wisconsin, they might have done
They were playing
the
Maryland.
jump around just... Okay, they recently played Wisconsin.
I don't think they did.
The Ducks?
Not
oh,
in- Not in basketball.
the women did.
Oh, look at you following women's hoops.
That's right.
I love that about you.
Man of increase.
They did play Illinois and that did not go well.
No, but they
No,
avenged.
they got smoked by them.
They beat Maryland. They beat the
Being a
Turtles.
man of increase.
Beat the Turtles.
They beat the Turtles. Take that. They were not men of increase against the Fighting Illini. That was
Okay,
that
I
was-
got
that
you.
was ugly.
Well, anyway, I think they do shout at Matthew Knight Arena, which, by the way, what a terrible home court that is. I
Unfortunately,
hadn't watched a game there in a while,
Yeah.
and I flipped on yesterday. God,
Well, it's unfortunate
Boring.
because the pit was a dump
Yeah.
of all dumps,
But it was great.
it was their dump.
It had character.
yeah.
Yeah, but it also had rats.
So what? It was a good home court. It was
Yeah.
fun. This
know,
is lame.
I
Yellow
know.
tinged lights.
You got to find a way to, and that's why the new stadiums or the new arenas that meld the two are the ones that are really. Matthew Knight Arena is a world class arena. Have you ever seen like an event there?
No, I've never been there.
It's great. It's beautiful.
I'm sure it is.
Parking kind of
But
sucks,
it's very sterile.
but it's very sterile, and unfortunately they can't fill it up. So, whereas
why? They're a good team.
yeah,
Good program.
it just doesn't. Well, they filled the pit, and it just the pit was unique. If you ever had a chance to watch a game there, that was one of those unique environments. But it's the same thing. Like, did you ever get to go to the Boston Garden?
One time.
One time, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
One
garden,
time.
the Garden of the old United Center, or any of these places
I
are.
liked the Boston Garden.
Yeah,
was
but
cool.
at the same time, it's not. You can't keep a crumbling building and be like, well, it's gonna be fine. In today's world, that doesn't work, and so it's tough because most of the new stuff that gets built like that, it's not the same. New Yankee Stadium is an old Yankee Stadium. It's why like the only really cathedrals left. We have what we've got Fenway and Wrigley that were both redone, but still kept the original structure. I don't even know if there's another one like that. How long has Allen Fieldhouse been around?
Oh, I don't know when it was built, but it's old.
Yeah, and they've
They've refurbished.
yeah they've refurbished.
And
And-
they've built it up around it.
Yeah, and I don't know this for a fact, but my high school girlfriend played basketball at Oregon, so I went there many a time to watch her games. I don't know how you. I didn't know how. I just don't think that building was one that you could expand upon. I think the option was you play in the rat's nest or you just tear the damn thing down. And everything in Oregon is brand spanking new, and it's the one thing like Hayward Field, amazing. The baseball facility, amazing. Autzen Stadium, all the additions, great. The one that didn't work out was Matthew Knight. Just never really hit.
1955,
Yeah.
the great Allen Fieldhouse. And they've recently upgraded it.
And it was big enough to where you could expand upon it. I don't think you could
Well-
ever do that with Matt Court.
Well, they didn't expand like the inside. It's 17,000.
Yeah. No, but locker room
around
space
it-
and around it and
Around
all
it,
that.
they've made it all nice and new,
Yeah.
and they put in a museum, and the original James Naismith rules of basketball are there. It's really cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Matt Court was like, it was a shoebox. That thing was just,
It held like 9,000 or something, didn't it? What was the
I think it was
capacity
like
there?
I think it was less than that.
it was cool, but it was not it's not in the locker room space and everything.
9,087.
It was bad.
Look how smart you are.
Like all the little
Went to
ramp-
many games there.
Well, and like the concourse and the ramps and like the locker rooms, it was rough. It was a rough.
Yeah, but
There's a lot of obstructed views too.
Yeah.
It was fun.
They're just like big pillars
Yeah,
coming down.
if you were up, there was a couple times when we'd get tickets and you'd go down there, yeah, you had to do the old look around. You're like, well, let me just kind of lean over here. But I just wish they would have, and I get hindsight being 2020, but you wish they could have taken I wish they could have built something on kind of the platform of that to try to modernize it, but keep some of the stuff that made Matt great. And they didn't. They just built a really, really nice modern arena that now seems half empty most of the time, very sterile.
It's too big.
And just kind of.
It's still out there.
What?
The pit. It's still there.
What do they do?
For a while, they were doing other sports there. Like they were doing. They were using it, I think, for rec sports and maybe as practice facility for volleyball and stuff like that.
Real.
Well, there's something about basketball.
Did they
like
get rid of the rats? 'Cause
the
those
old
things
school,
were-
like Hoosiers,
Yeah.
sweaty gym rundown. Like there's something about that in basketball that's great.
Yeah, and you don't really think that about football.
No, you don't.
Football, you want big, shiny, new.
Yeah.
Like Old Husky Stadium was one of the best places that I've ever played. Like for a noise standpoint, that place was an effing dump. I mean, it was an absolute pile of crap. Old Martin Stadium, Washington State, freaking disaster.
Let's not act like Autzen is like the nicest place.
No, but
'Cause it's
again, they've improved upon it, and nothing is actually in us. Everything, all the locker
Yeah.
rooms and everything are attached to it.
Yeah, but Autzen is not.
No,
I mean,
no, but it's a special place. I
and
mean,
neither is Moda.
they get that place rocking. But to be fair, if you filled Matthew, what's Matthew Knight? 17, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 14 to 16, but yeah.
And look, that's half the. I mean, one of the reasons Allen Fieldhouse or any of those other places in college basketball are great is because they fill it.
12,364 humans.
That's it.
That's it.
At Matthew Knight.
That's it.
Boy, that's shocking.
That
I know
is it.
I know it can fit more
Smaller
than
than
that
I
for
thought.
concerts.
Yeah, maybe that's just sports capacity, like
do they
basketball
kinda,
capacity. 'cause
Do they curtain off the top because no one goes?
They have been. I mean, they did like this last weekend when they played Illinois.
Yeah. Because look, let's be honest. If you pack that thing with 12 or 15,000 people, it'd be better. But half the time when you're watching games, you look up and you're like, there's 7 people there. And that just goes to a larger issue of, does West Coast outside of Gonzaga care about basketball?
Do you think that Dana Altman should just start wearing sunglasses all the time? Do you think that would help?
Yeah, dang, what do you think?
Why would Dana Altman wear sunglasses?
Well, because he's not great basketball coach.
Yeah.
But he's not really the most Dan Lanning-esque in terms of getting people.
No. Yes.
Getting people excited.
He does not.
He's not so cool.
He was all miffed at the end of last season about it. You remember that?
Yeah.
No one
The
came.
attendance?
Well, I would be pissed if I were him too, but at the same time, he's the head coach.
Yeah.
He should, but it's not his personality. I get it, but
Well, no, he's a
he
Midwest girl dad.
he could be a little bit more. I don't know. He could just project a little more cool, like, "Hey, this is something you want to be a part of," and maybe just throw on some sunglasses.
Like when Eberflus grew the beard and like cut his hair. And I know he got fired, so maybe that's a bad example, but look at Matt Eberflus, like when they did the Hard Knocks, and then look at Eberflus the year before. Oh my God. Whoever got a hold of that guy, someone was like, "Hey man, your ass is gonna get fired. You need to get some like personality." So maybe we get the brush, maybe we get him a new slicked back, like do a Pat Riley thing, throw on some shades. I like where we're going with this. Spruce midlife crisis, Dana Altman. The team's good.
maybe start dressing like it's the 70s.
Yes. I love it.
You know,
Do some Jack Ramsey plaids. Let's go.
Big collars over the jacket.
And you could get Nike to outfit him in like retro threads. Hell yeah, let's go. Hire us.
and then go
Marketing
play
people.
games at the Pit instead of Matthew Knight Arena.
And here's for a fan, for every rat that you kill, you get $1 off your ticket. You just show up like with a big rat stick.
One of those Charlie nail bats.
Yeah, you get the rat stick. You kill 10 rats. You know what? $1 off for every rat. You get 10 of them, you're in for free. You know what? You get your ticket. Come on in.
Then all
Let's
the
go.
players could grow out their hair and put on really short shorts, pretend it like they could just do a whole 70s vibe.
The short shorts are back, man.
Yeah, so
Everyone's
put
wearing
that
those.
together, go play at the Pit, throw some sunglasses and and some bell bottoms on Dana Altman, and now you got a bit.
I like where we're going with it.
People will love it.
Let's do it.
Better than what they have going on now.
Yeah. And they're really good. When they lost to Illinois, they were what, 9th in the country?
Yeah, they're always good. It's
Yeah.
just no one seems to care down there.
No, they're 13-2, and collectively
But hey,
everyone's like, man.
they're going to care on Thursday when they go to Ohio State and avenge that football loss.
You're damn right.
Yeah, dang, what do you think?
All right.
I want to see how many people were at that Illinois game.
I'm going to guess 7,000.
And it's always tough because they lie.
Yeah, the paid attendance versus actual gate.
Yeah. So here's the thing. They're telling us that it's 7,000. It was 7,010. So can we say 6,100?
Well, I don't know, but
look, that's number 9 versus number 21 in your barn.
yeah.
And you're getting 60. Let's just split the difference and say 6,500 people.
Can you blame them though? They gave up 104 points and lost by 30.
Well, but you didn't know that going in.
Well, maybe they kind of did.
They had lost one game.
Well, but
And they
maybe
shouldn't have lost it because it was a banked in 3 at the buzzer.
Exactly. Their only loss was a banked in UCLA 3.
You got to prove it.
They
You got to prove it.
lost one game.
Well, they got beat by
13
30.
and 1 had proven it. It's enough to get some butts in seats.
It should be enough to
Look
get
at
more
you.
than 6,500 people.
I don't know about that. Not down there. They don't give a rip.
Apparently not. They care about football.
I don't think they do anymore.
No, I think they do.
I think that loss, everybody's like,
They're out.
we're a track and field school.
Whatever.
We don't care.
We're about to find out how much. Like Phil's getting older. I'm telling you, that check's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Old Phil.
Well, he's like what, 80? He's like 80. Yeah.
87?
So yeah, that check getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's go.
All right, well, we're going to start with NFL. That was the weekend.
It's the NFL.
And that's the subject of our poll question. Next on The Fan.
The home of dirt.
else we have tonight?
Who we got?
Because there's so much sports.
There is no NFL though.
We've got FCS
Yeah.
championships tonight.
Yeah, we got about 30 minutes. Like it's 4:00.
Yeah.
On ESPN, and we've got the North Dakota State Bison
Yeah.
taking on the Montana State Wildcats. Bobcats.
My Bobcats.
There's a cat. I knew
Now,
that.
normally from the state of Montana, you think of the Grizzlies.
No, Montana State is right there. I mean, they've built a great
Oh,
program.
apparently they're the number one team in the country. They
Yeah.
have the number one offense and the number one defense
Yeah.
in this game.
And then North Dakota, I know they've fallen off a little bit, but like,
All they do is win titles.
yeah, all they do. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I'm gonna look it up. I think they've won like 7.
Yeah, I know Montana State's favored, but it's supposed to be close. 3.5, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you with the point spread. Nice. You guys want to bet on it?
Well,
I
and
have not bet this one.
well, the damn
Who would
thing
you bet
is,
on?
I
I'd
don't
probably
know.
bet on
That's-
North Dakota State.
I
Just-
don't know anything.
That's the pedigree. That's like Georgia being a 3.5 point
You're just
underdog.
betting on the blue blood, the Patriots.
I'm betting
so to
on the
speak.
pedigree.
Yeah. Well, and look, the title always runs through the damn Dakotas because South
Yeah.
Dakota,
That's right.
who, by the way, their coach is now
Wazoo's head coach.
Wazoo's head coach.
Mhm. South Dakota State.
South Dakota State.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there is a South Dakota.
Yeah, which no one cares about. Much like North Dakota, the Fightin' Sioux.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever. So the last 2 years, South Dakota State has won. The runner-up being Montana and North Dakota State. And then
So it's the same schools
it's
every
the
year.
same school. And so then North Dakota State won in 2021, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012,
Oh
and
my
2011.
God. Who was their coach?
Well, Craig Bowl was the one that started that.
Yeah.
And then
He's retired now, or is he at Wyoming?
he moved on to Wyoming, and I don't know if he's still there. And then Chris Kleiman took over for him.
Kleiman. That's
Didn't
right.
miss a beat, and Kleiman's at Kansas State.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Bull retired.
yeah, Bowl retired,
Mhm.
so he went to Wyoming. I know he left to
Yeah, he
go
went to Wyoming, and then 2023 he announced his retirement.
And then I don't know who is it. I don't know who their head coach is now.
Who? North Dakota State, you mean?
Yeah, because the coach that won there, he left to take a job at USC. I think is it Entz, Mike Entz?
That sounds right.
And I believe that he left to take the linebacker job at USC.
Tim Polasek is their coach.
Tim Polasek.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt. Excuse me, it was Matt,
Matt
not
Adams.
Mike. Yeah, he left.
We're all over this.
He left the preeminent program in FCS and was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go coach linebackers at USC." So it's a weird.
And Brent Vigen.
Sure.
Let's go with vegan. I like that.
Vegan. He's the coach at Montana State.
Hmm.
I want to say he used to coach at North Dakota State. How's
Well, and Entz
that for a twist, you little bitch?
Entz just got hired at Fresno State.
I mean, come on with all the
So,
states.
All the states. So, yeah, it's a weird. That FCS thing, it's weird. But you want to talk about a program that, I mean, that's pretty amazing to go from to have three head coaches win multiple national championships over the span of a 15. I mean, that's kind of insane. And, you know, there was some talk of would North Dakota State want to move up? And I don't know, do you? Or are you just happy doing what you're doing?
Fan text line pointing out that we have a local rooting interest tonight. NDSU Bison punter is from Sherwood. That would be Caden Steindorf.
Go Bison punting.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of root for Montana State.
Yeah, the I guess the upstart.
Well, I got a buddy that lives in Bozeman,
Okay.
and he's like, man, they're a huge deal there. Like,
Yeah.
it's a big thing.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about Montana State. I had some friends of mine that played at Montana, and Montana's won national titles there. And I do know that is like they love their football up in Montana. Love it. Well, and to be fair, if you live in Montana or the Dakotas, what else do you got?
Right.
You know, support it. Yeah, Montana won in 2001. And I believe my old quarterback from BYU that came in with me, I think he quarterbacked them to that national championship.
All right, well, that's enough of that. Anyway, that game's tonight. And we're going to be watching it.
Yeah.
I'm going to live broadcast, live
What else
commentate.
You gonna watch the freaking NBA?
No,
No,
again, not till
no.
after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And even then, maybe May, or no, not May, April. March. Mid-March.
Well, my Canucks
after March Madness.
my Canucks are playing the Canadians. If you'd rather watch that,
All right, here's the poll question on X at 1080 The Fan. And today we're asking you, where is the upset this week? Rams over Vikings,
bing, 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 bing.
Penn State over Notre Dame, Texas over Ohio State, or Commanders over Bucks?
I say I don't think that's much of an upset, by the way.
What?
What's the Commanders Bucks spread?
3.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I wouldn't consider that much of an upset. They
already played once, and the Bucks beat them by 17.
Yeah, but that was like week 1.
It was, yeah.
And that's a completely different animal than what you have now.
I believe the Rams and Vikings have already played, and the Rams won by 10.
Exactly. The Vikings lost to 2 teams all year. One, the Lions, twice.
Yeah.
And the other was the Rams.
You know what's interesting? They lost the Rams game in L.A.
Yeah.
right after losing to the Lions.
No, well,
which could be the exact same scenario.
Yes. And I said it.
Why did I yell that?
We were talking about, I don't know.
I'm excited about it.
But we were talking about this, that the Rams are not a good team. They're 10-7. But we said.
You don't think they're good?
Well.
They're a good team.
They're very inconsistent and they've been injury riddled. But we said this when you were, one of your poll questions was, where is the dark horse?
Yeah.
Right?
And you liked the Rams.
And I liked the Rams because of the dark horses, like the Steelers, whatever, they're kind of flailing. The Steelers have a ceiling, and it's a pretty low ceiling. The Rams' best is as good as anyone in the NFCs.
Well, and you trust McVay, and
Yes.
you trust Stafford.
Yes. So if I am the Vikings, I am absolutely, especially the way that Detroit did your offense, I am absolutely sweating bullets if I am the Vikings having to go into the Rams, who are basically coming off a rested week, didn't play anyone. You're going into LA. They've already beat you once. That, to me, is a absolutely terrifying game for the Vikings.
Well, I can't imagine anybody has much faith in Sam Darnold after last night.
It's the first time all year that he truly looked like Sam Darnold, and it's not.
Well, he's had flashes of looking like Sam
he's
Darnold.
had flashes, but that was a full-on Sam Darnold
That
game.
was the real Sam Darnold.
Yep.
So do you want to talk about that? Should we talk about that? You want to talk about that?
We talk about. I want to talk about the Motor City Kitties.
I'm a scorned bettor.
Are you?
Yeah.
You
because
love it,
that was the most because I had money on Minnesota last night.
Totally understand why.
I really liked
Yeah.
Catching points in that spot because of what's going on with the Lions defense.
Yeah.
And like that was a hard one to lose because I feel like I was kind of right, you know?
Yeah.
But obviously
Darnold gonna Darnold.
Yeah. It's like one of those where you start watching it and you just have instant regret of like, oh my God, why did I bet on this guy?
Yeah.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful. But you got to credit Detroit.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of one of those weird one-off games.
I am in love with everything that Dan Campbell and Glenn and Ben Johnson and everyone that is put together there. And it's the best story in football to come along in years. And I don't know, can it keep going? You would think eventually the dam's going to burst with that defense, but that's a top 5 offense they did that to last night.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's a pretty easy solution to that, and it's
don't have Sam Darnold as your quarterback?
Yeah, like you're not going to do that again. Like you do that against Patrick Mahomes, you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like the only way they could do that is they said, "Okay, let's see if Sam Darnold really is Sam Darnold."
And he was. They are who they thought we are.
And he was. And he was.
And we let him off the hook.
So we'll get to that next. Where's the upset this week? Rams over Vikings, Penn State over Notre Dame, Texas over Ohio State, Commanders over Bucks. Vote and vote hard on X at 1080 The Fan. Here's Buck.
They are who we thought they were.
This is a Wild Card Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Crunch Fitness memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, or online at crunch.com. First on The Fan. Black Monday in the NFL sees a couple head coaches get their walking papers. The Patriots didn't even wait until Monday. They fired head coach Gerard Mayo on Sunday after the Pats beat the Buffalo Bills and played their way out of the number 1 overall pick. The Jaguars fire head coach Doug Peterson but retain general manager Trent Baalke. In New York, Giants ownership choosing to retain head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Schoen, while in Las Vegas it appears Antonio Pierce, the head coach there, is safe for the time being. The Chicago Bears have reportedly asked for permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy about the Bears' open vacancy. McCarthy says he would prefer to be in Dallas. In local personnel news, the Seahawks fire offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just one season with the team. Seattle finished 14th in total offense and 18th in scoring. In college football news, Oregon running back Jordan James and Oregon defensive tackle Derek Harmon have both declared for the NFL draft. Meanwhile, Ducks defensive back Jabbar Muhammad has accepted an invite to the East-West Shrine Game. On the hardwood tonight, Game 3 of the Blazers' 5-game road trip after splitting the first two. They are in the Motor City visiting the Pistons. Tip-off at 4 o'clock here on the West Coast. Detroit favored by 6.5. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's the Fan in your office and with Isaac and Sue
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
on 1080 The Fan.
All right, we'll get to the wild card weekend and the playoff matchups. We're going to call it our NFL playoff penguin waddle.
Let's do it.
Coming up in a bit here.
Yeah.
But wrapping up the Reggie season with one meaningful game. Well, that's not true. There were some other meaningful games. Denver got into the playoffs by beating the Chiefs.
Yeah, and then the Tampa-Atlanta
Yeah.
one. You know, it looked like both of those squads were going to do the I don't want to be in the playoff game. And so
Yeah, that was kind of fun to watch. They were doing the screen,
they're doing the same-
kind of showing the scores of what was going on with the other team. And
I was watching it up at A&A, so it was great. So, you know, just doing some live betting and side by side. It was bananas, and both of those games ended up being great games down to the wire.
yeah, I've always found in Week 18, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, this team's going to smoke that team because they have to win, and the other team doesn't care." Well, it always kind of seems to work the opposite. Not always,
With
but
the
you know.
exception of the Broncos, you know, like
Well, yeah, like I said, not always,
Yeah.
but it's always like I feel like there's a pucker factor on the team that has to win, and the team with nothing to lose just lets her rip.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes for a fun.
Well,
Look, Week 18 kind of sucks.
Yes.
But you know, every once in a while there's some gold in there.
yeah, it was
Pretty good. Denver smoked the.
yeah, someone here
Chiefs.
like a dumbass. The Broncos were catching 11,
Yeah.
or excuse me, the Chiefs were catching 11.
Yeah.
And then when they went down 7-0, they were catching 18 at the book, and some dumbass was like, "Give me that." Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
I see why you did that though. I mean,
Well, I was just like, you know, last year Kansas City was in the same spot, and you know their backups play hard, and they had a vet quarterback. You're giving me 18. I was like, I'll take that.
yeah, why not?
Man.
Well, plus you're at the book, you have to bet. You got to watch
Exactly.
something. You got to lose
30
money somehow.
38-0.
Anyway,
My buddy hit a 5-team over parlay, $1,100.
wow.
Yeah.
The Vikings Lions was good.
Yes.
Well,
That
it
game
wasn't
was-
really good. Actually,
no,
it was.
It was good.
It was
'Cause-
classic NFL. It was entertaining, but not good.
Well, because here's the thing. That game ended up being 31-9. Up
It was
until the
close.
fourth quarter, that is not indicative of how close that game was.
Well, of course, if you didn't watch it and you just saw the final score, you have no idea what occurred. That was it was a rock fight.
Yes.
And it's wild because the Vikings defense played great.
Yes.
And yet they would just continually get into the red zone inside the 10, and they could not do anything. The Lions, Aaron Glenn is great.
Yes.
He just flat out said, look, we don't have any guys left. So the guys we do have left, we're just going to torpedo at the quarterback, and let's see what happens. And, of course, the quarterback ended up being Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And for as well as he has played this year, the Lions totally exposed him into being Sam Darnold.
18 for 41.
He couldn't do
for
anything.
$1.66.
And he missed wide open guys right and left.
It was a masterclass on the part of Aaron Glenn. And Anzalone coming back with the broken forearm still and the big scar in the cast, and he's playing with his hair on fire. And Van Ginkel's out there. He Reggie Bushed him. I thought he killed Gibbs. Oh my God. That was the hit. You don't see many of these anymore because in the NFL, if you hit someone hard, it's a flag. He absolutely bent Jahmyr Gibbs in half, and I thought he killed him. I mean, there was some hitting going on. I don't mind a rock fight when you have two really, really well-coached teams going at it. And, you know, Goff had 2 horrible interceptions, and Minnesota forced him into those. But I love the fact, who was it? One of the DBs for the Lions had a great, I forget who it was. But they had a great one after the game where he got a game ball. I think it was Robertson, the slot corner they moved over, and basically just said, "Hey, go play arguably the best receiver in football, and we're just gonna go one-on-one with him." And he played a hell of a game. And he said, "You can't bury what effing comes from the dirt." And he goes, "Everyone wrote us off. We don't have anyone left. We're not supposed to be here." And I love everything that the Lions have going on. And Dan Campbell is not perfect, and at times you look at him, you're like, dude, what the hell are you doing? But that guy, when he took that job, when he drafted Penei Sewell, said that we are going to build a culture of toughness. And that son of a gun has built the toughest, most resilient team I've seen in years. And that next man up mentality, they're finding guys off the street. They're finding just guys that are plug and play. And it's like, you may not be great, but you will play hard. And there's no team that plays harder. And I freaking love what the Lions have done.
Yeah, they basically just I mean, the Vikings are good, and they just made him quit. You know, the dam burst, and then, you know, it was only a matter of time for the Lions offense did something.
Yeah.
And they uncorked a couple of drives and got it in the end zone. Vikings couldn't, and thanks for coming. It's one of those games. It was really frustrating because if you're a Vikings fan, or if, say, you bet on the Vikings, dude, that game, those teams are pretty close.
Yes.
But the Lions just absolutely, they just mauled them. And it was really kind of embarrassing, I thought, for Minnesota. And McCarthy's over there. He's got kind of a good pouty face.
Yeah.
McCarthy.
Well, and am I the only one? So they were showing JJ McCarthy, and
Well, it's not. Oh, you mean the quarterback? Oh, what did I say? McCarthy?
Yeah, you said
I
Yeah,
McCarthy.
meant,
did you mean O'Connell?
I meant O'Connell.
Oh, O'Connell.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, the pouty face of Kevin O'Connell
Wow.
is pretty good because we haven't seen that much. I mean,
No.
they win all the time.
I thought you were talking about the end of the game.
No,
they
I
showed,
didn't see that.
They showed JJ McCarthy.
I was so disgusted I turned it off.
I did not. I was loving it. I was loving my Lions. By the way, I realized I have not purchased a piece of NFL gear in 20 years. In my entire adult life, I have never bought an NFL anything.
There's really no good NFL gear.
No.
Like their gear doesn't look very good.
Well, and
Except for those hats they're wearing this year on the
yeah,
sideline.
with the
I think those are
the
pretty
little
cool.
braid thing on the bottom of them.
I think those are pretty cool. That's the first time I've ever seen an NFL hat I liked.
I am going to have to break my streak and just break down and buy a piece of Lions gear. But
You're kind of a front runner though. Do you?
I have been on the Lions for years. Thank you very much.
I don't think you have.
Dan Campbell bite kneecaps. I don't want to hear it. Been on the Lions.
You're a bit of a front
Nah,
runner.
zip
It's
it.
funny how all of a sudden
Zip
everybody's
it.
a Lions fan. Get out of here, dude. They've sucked for 50 years.
Oh, I haven't been on the Dan Campbell train the entire
Yeah.
time?
No, you.
I haven't?
I don't think you have.
Really?
No.
You're going to sit here and tell me that I have not been on the bite
No.
kneecaps from the get-go.
I think your Dan Campbell love has elevated as the Lions have elevated, and I think that's kind of weak.
I'm disappointed in you calling out my lack of faith in
Now,
Dan
look,
Campbell.
You got to be there from day one, man.
I have.
I don't think you have.
Ever since he was the opening press conference, he's biting kneecaps. I'm like, I love this guy. Let's go. Let's go, Dan Campbell. Anywho, at the end of the game, they were talking about the future of both teams, and they showed JJ McCarthy. You don't know what I'm speaking of. Buck, did you see
I
this?
didn't see it.
With his flowing mane?
Yeah, so they showed JJ McCarthy, and they're talking about it, and I'm like, well, that's not JJ. I thought they were.
Oh wait, I did see that. That was JJ McCarthy.
Exactly.
I thought they were showing like an intern. And that I was like, dude, that's not. And they showed him again, and I was like, dude, does someone think that's JJ McCarthy? And it wasn't until the third time they showed him, and then
Yeah.
I had to Google image, like recent JJ McCarthy, and I was like, that's JJ McCarthy. I really thought the broadcast was gonna have mud on their face, that they were just showing some random dude. He looked like Steve from Stranger Things.
Well, he grew his
Great
hair
pull.
out.
Yeah,
He looks
12?
He's kind of got like a Aaron Rodgers look to him a little bit.
but
He's skinny.
threw me for a loop.
Yeah, he looks nothing.
He's got the
Like he
Randall
used-
Pink Floyd from Dazed and Confused thing going on.
Yes, he's just living, man. I was not
I guess
prepared.
that's a good thing. I don't know.
Oh.
I did. You're right. I did see that.
Yeah.
And I
But
didn't,
you didn't think it was JJ McCarthy.
You just gotta keep
well,
living.
no, I
man.
didn't.
Me neither.
Livin.
And I didn't. I don't.
I thought someone in the broadcast truck was going to get their ass chewed for showing some rando on the sidelines and being like JJ McCarthy graphic.
Well,
I
anyway.
hate ass.
Anyway, that was. I don't know how you feel good about the Vikings anymore after that, even though it was just one game.
Yeah.
And you probably shouldn't. You never overreact to one game, dude. That was so bad. Why wouldn't every team just do that to Darnold?
Well, because there are variance plays there, and like you saw it, Jefferson didn't bring one in the end zone. There was another one in the corner that like it was very close. Like
I thought he overthrew them all.
he did.
Jefferson. I mean,
There was one that Jefferson should have brought in, and
the
there
one
was about
in the
three-
right corner or the left.
No, the right corner one he overthrew him, and there was one in the back of the end zone that Jefferson I think normally comes down with. He
Yeah.
kind of bobbled it and then he caught it, but he was out of bounds.
I mean, I half wanted to do the Penn State James Franklin. Just freaking drop back 3 steps and throw it up to Jefferson. Seriously, you can't hit anything.
No.
Just throw it up and let him go make a play.
The problem is that so no one expected the Lions. I mean, they ran more man coverage than they had all game or all year. I mean, and with that skeleton crew, you just didn't think that was going to be it. And so I think going forward, that isn't going to be a success thing for the Lions. They will build in protections against that. I just think that was one of those Waterloo surprise type moments, and the Vikings couldn't come up with an answer to it. The way they were squeezing the pocket, the way they were picking the guard and bringing the other linebacker around, it was a masterclass. But I'm not if they play again, and if the Lions, because Dan Campbell after the game told O'Connell, "I'll see you in 2 weeks," which I'm not certain you will. I think the Rams are going to get him.
I don't think he will either.
But if the Vikings go there, the Lions cannot run that same game plan. But in
because
that,
they'll be ready for
they'll
it.
be ready for it. But in that instant, it was beautiful, and I was a little surprised that the Vikings on the fly
They couldn't adjust
come
at
up
all.
with an adjustment to
And
that.
isn't O'Connell an offensive guy?
He is a great offensive guy.
he looked like he ate a bad piece of fish over
Yeah.
there. He didn't know what to do.
And this is why, as much as Sam Darnold has been a great story, and I've been telling you this all year, every game there are a handful of moments where he shows you that he is Sam Darnold, and they've gotten away with it. And it's a great year, and he deserves to be the starting quarterback there. But these people that think that Sam Darnold has emerged as this MVP type guy, if you've watched them, the answer to that is no, he has not. He's been incredible from where he was, but he shows you those moments, and unfortunately, he picked the worst time to fully remove the Scooby-Doo mask and be like, I'm Sam Darnold all along.
Well, once Sam Darnold, always Sam Darnold.
Hurts.
This is the same thing I always say about Geno Smith.
Yeah.
As good as he is,
Yeah.
he will remind you
And
that he is
yes.
Geno Smith.
Yes.
And you are not winning a Super Bowl with him.
And he did
And
it
the
this year.
Vikings are not winning a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold.
I can't disagree.
Period. There's no way.
I can't disagree.
That's what's crazy. Half the Lions are out, and I'll take them to win the Super Bowl over the stupid Vikings.
That does say something.
And again, I'm scorned here.
I get
I'm a
it.
little hot
I get-
about that one.
I get it.
I was not happy about
I get
that
it.
one. At any rate, Lions, the number 1 seed in the NFC, will set you up for the playoff schedule coming up next in our NFL playoff Penguin Waddle on the Fan.
Check out the Fan Soup
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
on 1080 The Fan.
All right, Stock Watch 4:15. Up next will be our NFL playoff penguin waddle. We'll tell you who's all playing in the playoffs. But since we got a short seggy here, I have a couple Vikings-Lions leftovers. One is why, and they referred to it a little bit on the broadcast, because Sam Darnold could have been called for this no less than 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they not want to call delay of game?
It's really frustrating. So basically the NFL, they've decided that the way the game has gone and audibles and everything, that most teams now are getting down to the wire. And because it's such an offensive-minded game and those penalties are drive killers, they've basically said it's a spirit of the law thing that we're trying to give teams the benefit of the doubt, and as long as it's not egregious. So basically what they're doing now is the back judge is in charge of calling it. He looks at the clock, and once he sees 00, then he looks down, and as long as the center, after he sees it 0, looks back, as long as he is starting the motion, they will give you the benefit of the doubt. It's the same way they do a lot now with like Lane Johnson and some of the tackles. They're jumping offsides on almost every play. But I think, again, it's more of the NFL saying we're trying to incentivize offense. And so we've kind of gone to a letter of the law, spirit of the law sort of thing, and it drives me bananas. I don't know why when it hits 00, it's not a penalty.
Yeah.
It's 00. The ball hasn't moved. Everyone sees it, but we just kind of look the other way at it.
Yeah, I think it's weird that they do that.
They don't want to bog down the game, and they're trying to give the offense the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Well, saved the Vikings several times last night.
Yeah, I'm telling
because Darnold couldn't get the damn snap off in time.
Start watching some of the tackles. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And some
I've
are
seen that a lot.
Some are worse than others, but Lane Johnson literally jumps off sides 20 times a game.
The other one is
makes no sense to me.
The safety for the Lions, Brian Branch,
who's amazing.
Have you seen that he's got his a mouthpiece on the top of his helmet?
Yeah, you see that sometimes.
I have never seen that.
You've never seen it?
No.
Pay attention.
When did mouth guard? Oh, I guess this year, but the whole mouth guards as like hood ornaments for your helmet is just unbelievable to me.
It's not. They just don't think about it. So I never wore a mouthpiece when I played.
Well, he does think about it. I had to go read up about it.
So this is something he does on purpose?
Yeah, he does it on purpose. He said that it started in high school where his mouthpiece, he would just leave it dangling. He wouldn't put it in, and then he would go about his business on a play, and it would fall off, and he hated that.
Yes.
So he would just stick it on his helmet, stick it into one of the holes in his helmet, and just leave it there. That way it wouldn't fall off. Well, then it kind of became a good luck thing.
Okay.
So he now does that. He says he doesn't wear a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
So he just puts it on there.
Yeah.
As good luck. He just leaves it there.
Yeah.
But it's weird looking.
I never wore a mouthpiece either, but and I don't think the NFL requires you to have them, but in high school and college, they did require you. So I too did not want it to dangle. I never had a strap. I wore a little thin one and then cut the string on it. And I would tuck it into between my helmet and the top of my face mask. And then if an official ever said something to you,
you just slip it in.
They'd be like, hey, put your mouthpiece in. You could grab it, put it in, and then you left it in for a play or two, and then you shove it back in, and no one really said anything after that. So,
well, I just think it's weird that they allow him. You know how
and they're so fickle about They're so, like
they allow him to do that.
Your socks have to be a certain height and all that, but you can just wander around with these
weird,
off-colored rubber things hanging.
Now
out
that you've seen it, and his is bright green, so you can really see it. But now as you watch games,
there's a bunch of those.
Yeah, you'll see a half a dozen guys a game that have them back there, and I always assumed it was more of just kind of like me, and that you just kind of forget about it, you tuck it in, and then it doesn't go in. I didn't know it was a good luck thing, but yeah, guys have been doing that. Guys let them dangle. Guys tuck them into face masks.
Well, now there are guys that are, like especially in college, that are wearing 2 or 3 dangling ones from their face mask. Like they'll do one that matches the uniform and one that is the other team's color, and I'm like,
my daughter once asked me why we were watching. I don't remember if it was college in the NFL. She asked me about like wristbands or something, or maybe it was the eye black. And I said, everything that a football player is wearing is because he thinks it looks cool, and there's really no other reason. This is true almost for wristbands, for spandex, for neck guards, for mouthpiece, whatever. Eye black. None of it makes any difference. You're wearing it because you think it looks super badass. And if it looks badass, it's the Jerry Rice thing. Look cool, feel cool, play cool, all those sorts of things.
Well, it looks kind of stupid,
Agreed.
but whatever.
Yeah.
That's his bit. All right. Well, let's get to the bracket. It is out. It is set.
It is.
The playoffs. We'll get to that next on The Fan.
Playoffs?
we'll have our stock watch coming up next.
Yeah, let's do that.
We will. Dylan. The NFL playoffs are set. Here's the sked. First game going to be Saturday, 1:30. Chargers, Texans in Houston.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I guess the Chargers, the Texans.
The
suck.
Texans always get the Saturday first game.
Exactly.
Always.
Well, you
And
know
they're
the stat on that?
What, it's like 8 in a row or something like
Yeah,
that?
they have made the playoffs 8 times in their 23-year history.
Yeah.
All 8 times they have played Saturday at 1:30
Yep.
Well,
at home.
the Texans, they're the 4 seed, but I'm telling you, if there's one team in the playoffs, and I mean just across the board, that I have zero, and I mean zero faith in, it is the Houston Texans.
Doesn't that mean that they win now?
Nah, I'd be surprised.
Isn't that what that means?
I think Chargers clip them.
So that's the first one. And then we get Steelers-Ravens again, part 3.
Yes.
Saturday at 5.
Yeah. And Russell Wilson does not want to talk about the past, even though the past is the present and the future, because you lost 4 in a row. You played your starters because you said you didn't want to leave a bad taste in your mouth, and then you went out and left a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
Also, the best player on your team, on your offense, has decided that he doesn't want to play anymore.
Yeah, what's going on with him?
George Pickens is...
Is he being a little baby?
He is.
Being a little prima donna?
It's amazing. I don't know what it is about wide receivers, but there is not a more volatile, just dumbass group of human beings in the world of sports. From Tyreek Hill to Antonio, and maybe it's just the Steeler receivers in general. But my God, like they channel their inner Antonio Brown. Did you see Tyreek Hill changed his Twitter profile to Antonio Brown's photo when he ran off the field and took off his shirt? He superimposed his head on top of that image and that's his Twitter and Instagram profile.
Uh-oh.
He's like, yeah, remember when that jackass did that? I'm him now.
Hey, Tyreek Hill, just if you think it's hilarious to try to emulate Antonio Brown, so the Steelers are going nowhere. There's serious locker room issues there. Like they had it cooking there for a while, but it just, you knew that there was a ceiling with the offense with Russell Wilson. And especially now that the one dynamic player they have on offense has decided that he just doesn't want to play anymore, they're washed.
They're 10-3, and then they lost to the Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, and Bengals.
All playoff teams.
Cincinnati.
Well, Cincinnati should be, but they're not.
But they're not.
No.
But Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City. I mean, so if you want a silver lining, it's that, hey, that was a really tough schedule coming down the stretch. But yeah, they seem like they have some problems. And of course, everybody trusts Baltimore. Baltimore did lose in Pittsburgh.
Well, and I'll tell you what.
But they beat them by 2 tutties when they met again a couple weeks later.
There was a couple significant injuries, and you can make the argument the most significant one was Zay Flowers. And we'll see what happens. But if Zay Flowers can't play, he is by far the most dynamic part of that offense. He's really the only receiver they have that can get separation. He's a guy that really stretches the field. And I don't think they need him to beat Pittsburgh, but they will not go on a deep run. They will not win the Super Bowl without Zay Flowers. They need him. And we'll see what the injury status on that is. The Lions had another couple injuries, which they lost. Their best guard went out of that game. Arnold, one of their only secondary guys that's left, he got carted off with a foot. And it's a war of attrition, but keep an eye on Zay Flowers. If he can't go, this Ravens offense will not look the same.
Then we have Broncos-Bills in Buffalo. That'll be Sunday at 10.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of stoked about that one. Like, Buffalo should take care of business, but Denver's got a real defense, and good Bo Nix and Sean Payton seems to be in a groove. I'm intrigued by that. Buffalo should take care of business because I think Buffalo is as good, if not the best team in football. But I don't know, there's something about the Broncos that I think are kind of plucky. I kind of dig it.
And then we have Packers-Eagles Sunday at 1:30. They're saying Jalen Hurts still in concussion protocol.
Boy, that's a huge one too.
Jordan Love should be good to go. They said that he was ready to go back in the game, but they didn't want to put him in.
No Watson, though. Done for the year.
Yeah, he's out.
And much like Zay Flowers, he's the one guy on that offense that stretches. And I'm not saying being fast is the end all to be all, but when you have a guy in your offense that teams have to respect and you have to roll coverage over the top, you have to send help that way because at any time he can run by you, it does change. And Green Bay has not been the most dynamic offense, and Jordan Love against pressure has not been very good this year. And you remove your deep threat, again, I think that is another really significant injury. Not as significant as if Jalen Hurts can't go. No offense to Tanner McGee or McKee.
Respect.
Or small hands.
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Two Gloves. Even Hurts, if he comes back, there's a rust factor there. That's all of a sudden, I think that game becomes a little more interesting with the whole Jalen Hurts, whether he comes back or not. There may be some rust there.
And then we have Sunday Night Football, Commanders at Bucks, 5:15 Sunday night, and then Monday night will be Vikings-Rams in LA.
Which I think, to me, is the one I'm probably most excited for. And I think the Rams can beat them. So if I'm going power rankings, I'm going Rams-Vikings 1. I'm pretty geeked about that. I know there's some Bills Broncos I'm intrigued by. I'm going 2, and then I'll go Ravens Steelers, Eagles Packers, Bucks Commanders, and then just Texans Chargers. Whatever.
Commanders Bucks is a good matchup.
Yeah.
But there's something about Tampa Bay I'm not that interested in. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because, Baker's having a good year.
They have a great year.
They're slinging it around. Mike Evans.
Baker's running around, and he's out making plays. Look,
Jaden Daniels is fun.
Yeah, is it part of that thing where you just don't believe that quarterback can win it all, so you're not you're not investing in it?
That might be
I feel like you've been kind of drawn a line there. Like, if you don't think the quarterback can get you there, then
it's
what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of feel that way about, and that was a little bit me with the Texans and Chargers. It's a little bit of just like, they're fine.
Stroud's good.
He's having
regression.
There's a huge regression there.
Yeah, but I think I think that Buck nailed it. It's like when you have a Vikings who is way better than Houston, but they have Sam Darnold. I think Houston's more interesting because they have C.J. Stroud at least.
Sure.
And a good coach.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I just think the quarterback, and I'm trying to think, like, in this tournament, the quarterbacks that just will not win it. I mean, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you're not winning with Russ.
Just doesn't. I mean, Russ has had a nice resurgence for them.
With his weapons and him at quarterback, you're not winning.
But he's lesser so than, I would say, Baker. There's something I don't trust about Baker.
Sure.
And Sam Darnold certainly with Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather see. That's what I say. Like, I'd rather see Cincinnati in the tournament.
Yes.
Because they have Joe Burrow.
I was really bummed that the best quarterback in the NFL this year is not going to be in the postseason.
I know the Jets sucked, but I'd rather see the Jets in there with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather see, I don't know, I just think that makes more fun matchups, but that's just me.
Yeah, look, I don't think these are the sexiest matchups in the world, but the NFL always delivers. We're going to get a couple games that are going to be bananas. And I don't know why. I just, like I said, just keep an eye out. I have and it's probably dumb on my part because, look, against some of the better teams, I mean, you look at Denver, they lost to Cincinnati, they lost to the Chargers.
Who's the best team they've beaten? Besides Kansas City, but they weren't playing their
they weren't playing anyone. Let's go back and take a look-see. So, Colts, Browns, Raiders, Falcons, Panthers, Saints, Raiders, Jets.
Wow.
Yeah. The answer is nobody. It's nobody.
They haven't beat one playoff team?
Let's see if they beat a playoff team.
Surely they beat somebody.
They beat the Buccaneers.
There you go.
Yeah, they beat the Bucs.
Things are looking up.
God. And, and that goes
against... Rookie quarterback in Buffalo.
Yeah, that goes against everything. Because, me, I'm a big believer of, we judge you against the good teams you play. You can win a lot of games in the NFL beating bad teams. Yeah. And I don't know, there's something about Bo Nix and Sean Payton that I find interesting. I enjoy watching them.
I agree.
And
Nix has looked good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I had a feeling, but that goes literally against everything that I say about the NFL every year. You've made me rethink
might be a topic in Stockwatch coming up next.
Made me rethink my stance.
Well, I think too that, and we can get into this more this week, but it does seem like in recent years, these teams, particularly the AFC, I think the NFC is a little bit more kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
But in the AFC, you've got some elite teams, and Buffalo's one of them. Baltimore's one, Kansas City. those teams have shown when the early in the playoffs, they have been smoking whoever they're playing.
Yes.
Like there's a difference between those teams and the teams they're playing. Now the NFL or the NFC is a little different. Commanders, Bucks, I mean that's pretty much the same team.
Pretty much.
Vikings, Rams. I mean the spread's like 1.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at the other side of the bracket, Baltimore's favored by 10 and Buffalo's favored by almost 10.
Yeah.
I think that tells you,
Sure.
and I feel like I may be wrong. You have to do the, go look up the stats, but I do feel like there have been a lot of blowouts in Wild Card Weekend.
Sure.
When just the superior team just shows, hey, look, dude, you ain't it. You may be it in a couple of years, Bo Nix, but you ain't it right now. And Buffalo's taking their lumps. I mean,
yes, they have. And it feels like maybe Buffalo's ready. Like, if it's not going to be the Motor City Kitties, like, if you gave me my ideal Super Bowl, you give me the Bills and the Lions, and I think we all win, as I think those would be great stories.
There is the playoff bracket. Isn't that exciting? Can't wait. Love
Can't
the NFL playoff. All right. Well, Buck teased it. Stock Watch coming up next on The Fan.
College football playoff.
And are already out to a 7-0 lead on our Bobcats.
It turns out Trey Lance's brother is their best receiver.
Bryce.
Bryce.
and the Bobcats just fumbled.
Way to go, Tommy Malott. Disappointing.
So, oh wait, they got it back.
Yeah, you said they fumbled. They got the ball.
Oh, they recovered it.
Oh, okay.
Now they're punting. It's not looking good for my Bobcats early on.
Oh, you're ahead of me then.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what are you talking about? It's third down.
Not anymore, bro.
Not anymore.
All right, it's time for the Stock Watch. Here's Buckley.
Well, you brought it up towards the end of last segment, but former Ducks quarterback and Broncos signal caller Bo Nix going to the playoffs in his rookie season. He had this to say about their team making the postseason.
Well, it means everything. You know, we worked really hard for this. You know, quite honestly, opening the season, nobody expected us to do this, but, you know, we didn't really listen to that. We just came out there and put a lot of games together, and we've lost a few tough ones, but we've also won some big ones, so this team deserves it.
A lot of quarterback speak there, but buy or sell that rookie Bo Nix can go into Buffalo and win this weekend.
No. I thought it could be a sneaky, fun game. I like the way Denver plays defense, and Bo Nix and Sean Payton have really found a nice little marriage there. Sutton's playing really well, but you know, to go into Buffalo and win, no. And Ropp was talking about it. They have one win over a playoff team.
Yeah, but he just said they've won some big ones.
They really haven't.
Beat those Raiders.
And he just said no one believed in him.
And that's true. Look, they were picked to win 4 or 5 games and ended up winning 10. But this happens every year in the NFL where a team wins 10 games and you can look. I said this about the Dolphins are the best example of this. The Dolphins beat bad teams and they lose to good teams. And that's the Denver Broncos. They do not beat good teams. And so, no, they will not go on the road and they will not beat Josh Allen. I think that defense can keep it competitive, but they're not beating Josh Allen in the Bills.
Sell, hard sell. No, the Broncos will not win that game. Buffalo is, I'm not in love with the Bills defense, but it's Josh Allen. It's Buffalo in the playoffs, at home, cold weather, rookie quarterback. Come on, man.
Yeah. By the way,
come on, man.
In case you were wondering, the Bills do have wins over good teams.
Well, yeah, the Bills are elite.
Namely, the Lions and the Chiefs. They're the only team to beat Kansas City.
They beat both bye teams.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Moving over to the NFC, we got the battle for the 1 seed last night, and after the win, here was Sook's man crush with the Motor City Kitties.
You guys look like you remember who the you are. Yeah, that was awesome. That's a hell of a win, guys. All I can think about is, man, we've been forced in this stuff now. This has been 3 years in the making. Some of it 4. Like, that just doesn't happen. You got to work through it, grind through it, and go through the downs to get to the ups of where we're at. That was unbelievable, man. Division winners, back-to-back seasons, and the #1 seed. It's a hell of a win, man. Back-to-back seed. What we've done is not easy. It's not easy, but I'm telling you what, man, we've said it all along. We got a special group, man, and this has been coming a long time. That's a lot of hard work, and we are the #1 seed with a fine gentlemen. Great job.
So, walking wounded defensive unit be damned, the Lions still favorites to win the Super Bowl. Buy or sell that they should be.
Are they really?
Yes, they are.
Wow.
Plus 320. Chiefs
No.
are next at plus 370.
Sell.
Yeah, I'll sell. I think when you look at Buffalo, you look at Baltimore, you look at Kansas City, I just think the health.
Philly?
I don't. I still take them in the NFC, and hopefully they'll get some guys back. Davis may come back. We'll see what happens with Arnold and his foot. But outside now, this offense has scored more touchdowns than any offense in NFL history, minus the Peyton Manning Broncos, which did get shillelied by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I do think they can get there. I think they're capable of winning it. I mean, as long as no one else gets hurt, and Zeitler, their guard, injured his hamstring, we'll see what happens to him in 2 weeks. The only thing that derails the Lions is injury, and I know it hasn't yet, but it is a war of attrition. Even the Chiefs that one year, when they lost all the old linemen, and that was the year that they couldn't get over Brady and the Buccaneers. Eventually, you would think that this sort of injury thing is going to catch up to you. So can they get there? Can they win one? Sure. Should they be favorites? No. I'll take some teams in the AFC. But in the NFC, yeah, I'll roll with them.
Yeah, it's a sell. Dan Campbell even though he has the highest T of anyone in the NFL, even at the age of 48, which is quite a that's quite an achievement.
And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
He is quite the leader. He has done a great job there, and Aaron Glenn as well. They do not have the horses on defense, and I don't know that they make the Super Bowl. Yeah. Their offense, you're right. They could. They're not going to beat the AFC. Whoever comes out of the AFC is going to be the champ.
I tend to think that as well.
But Philly, if Jalen Hurts plays, Philly will have all 22 starters healthy and ready to go. Yeah. That team in the NFC, they're awesome, dude. I mean, they run the ball, they play defense, all the things that translate well in the playoffs. So I don't know that the Lions even make the Super Bowl. So I have to sell that. It's nothing against them. They are a great story, and that was awesome to watch last night. But they have too many injuries. I just cannot.
13, I think, defensive players alone.
I can't get past that. Like, how the hell are they going to make the Super Bowl with that?
I don't know. I really don't know. So,
Come on, man.
you got to get a couple guys back, and like.
Is anybody due to come back?
There's some questionable guys that could come back. Like Anzalone came back last week. There's a couple others. I'm trying to think. Who is it? Carlton Davis. He's got a broken jaw.
Well, didn't they lose another corner last night?
Yeah, Terry Arnold went down.
He went out.
So we don't know. He's questionable. They said the x-rays were negative on his foot. So we don't know. Like I said, Zeitler, who's their best guard, he pulled a hamstring. We don't know. Montgomery, I think, should be back. David Montgomery should be back. So they said Hutchinson could play come Super Bowl if they were to get that far. He thinks he's on track for that. So it's all kind of up in the air. But there is potential for 3 or 4 guys to maybe come back. But still, 13 guys off your 2 deep on the defensive side of the ball. And if Arnold can't go, look, eventually you do run out of players.
Well, they're going to get the Rams-Vikings winner unless the Commanders or Packers win. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that they get, if the Commanders and Packers both win, the Lions will get the Packers, which is interesting. If the Packers lose to the Eagles and the Commanders win, Washington goes to Detroit. So I actually think the Lions, if you're a Lions fan, you're rooting for an upset in either the Commanders or the Packers.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to play the Vikings or Rams winner if I'm Detroit.
I would not. If you gave me the choice, I would rather play one of those other teams. I think Philly obviously is the other one that scares you a little bit. But
you're not going to get them until the conference championship.
But you're right, because Minnesota, you're not going to do that to Minnesota 2 times in a row. That game will be closer, and the Rams can beat you. The Rams' best is as good as anyone in the NFCs. So I'm with you. I think you're looking for an upset.
Well, over to Tampa, where Mike Evans had the chance to make some history over the weekend. This came down to the wire. Here's what it sounded like.
Mayfield throwing. Evans! He does it! Jerry Rice has company! This whole crowd knew it too, and that'll do it. Evans, 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He ties Jerry Rice's record, now with 11, the second most 1,000-yard seasons of all time, and he does it as division champs, and his Bucs are going to the playoffs.
So yeah, 11 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. Could go a couple ways with this one. One, we could ask buy or sell Mike Evans, the most underrated receiver of his time.
Yes.
Or we could buy or sell chasing milestones in garbage time with under 30 seconds left. Kind of lame.
First off, it was $3 million. He got $3 million. And I love that his coach afterwards says, yeah, he should give me $1 million. Because he's the one that gave it the okay.
Didn't kneel it, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, no, dude, go out there and get it. So, no, that's not chasing. That's not garbage. That's freaking awesome. And yes, I've been saying this for years. Mike Evans is the most underappreciated player of his generation. And we get this.
Any position?
Certainly a receiver, and you could make the argument he is the most underappreciated at any position. And I don't know why. There's just sometimes guys fly under the radar. I think Andre Johnson was this way down in Houston for a number of years. That are just truly, truly great. And Mike Evans has been with one team the whole time. He's won a Super Bowl. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And yet when he goes into the Hall of Fame, everyone's going to collectively kind of be like, oh, yeah. Andre Reed in Buffalo was this way. I mean, just some phenomenal guys. And I think it's just because he was never Tyreek Hill, right? He was never Calvin Johnson. And the other one too, and this is another reason why I love Mike Evans. He's not a jackass. You never heard about him. He didn't bitch. He didn't moan. He
goes to work.
He was never doing a dumb rap album.
Like you, Buck. He just goes to work.
He just showed up and went to work. And I love Mike Evans, and I love that they got him another 1,000-yard season, tying Jerry Rice, and $3 million. I remember when they were talking about not bringing him back because maybe he was washed, and they brought him back. Dude, that dude's not washed.
What are we buying or selling?
Well, it was two-pronged, but you can buy or sell it. He's the most underrated receiver of his time. You could also buy or sell whether chasing that record or that milestone in garbage time is lame.
Oh, the latter is an easy one. I do not think that's lame. I think coaches all around the league helped their players get to incentives. I don't know if you saw what Sean McDermott did for his punter.
No,
Did you see that?
No.
His punter it's $100,000.
Yeah.
But I think he had $100,000 riding on 25 punts inside the 20-yard line or something. And he was on 24. And McDermott punted from the opponent's 35-yard line to allow him to get that, and he got it.
It's awesome.
So I think coaches are always going to let players do that, and they should. I mean, come on, man. You can't deny a guy a chance at $3 million, and I think even the other team knows.
Yeah.
It's like, look, I get it. Yeah. You know, you should go for your incentives. Most because I can't think of another one. I mean, I think he's pretty appreciated, but at the same time, he's maybe better than the appreciation.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
He is a true first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's not what you think of when you say best receivers of this era. His name does not come up, and it should be in the conversation.
So that's it?
Well, I have one more, but we're now chewing into in the news. So
here, give it to us quick. Let's go.
All right, real quick. This was Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill after the game.
This is my first time I haven't been in the playoffs, man. So, I mean, for me, like I said, man, I just got to do what's best for me and my family, dog. If that's here or that's wherever the case may be, man, I'm finna open that door for myself, dog. As I'm opening the door, like I'm out, bro. You know, so it was great playing here, but you know, at the end of the day, bro, I got to do what's best for for my career and what's best, because I'm too much of a competitor to be, just.
Does that mean you're
out there?
Mean you're thinking about leaving here?
If it is, hey, it gets.
Yes, that's what he said.
He's such a horrid human being.
Buy or sell that Tyreek Hill will be playing for a contender again in his career.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He'll go somewhere. Miami's going to run it back with the same staff, but dude, Tyreek Hill, go away. By the way, you left the best situation in the NFL because you wanted more money, right? And they won 2 Super Bowls.
And then you got more money in a worse situation, and now you're bitching about the situation.
I would like to point out they won 2 Super Bowls without your dumb ass. I would also like to point out that you're a wife beater. I would also like to point out allegedly you may have broken your kid's arm. You're a piece of crap. I would also
fathered half a dozen kids this year.
Didn't he say he wanted to be a porn star?
Yeah, he wanted to be a porn
when
star.
He's done playing?
I believe he had more kids than he had touchdowns this year.
He had 5 children this year.
I'd also like to point out
really?
that,
Yes.
Yeah, 5.
God.
I'd also like to point out that he skipped practice this week, which, by the way, this was a game that if they won, they potentially could be in. He skipped practice.
He said he's like a competitor. Okay.
He skipped practice because of illness. And then that same day when he was ill and didn't show up to the facility, he was on TikTok and selling his clothing brand. So he was sick, couldn't go to practice at the biggest game for the Dolphins all year, but he could sell his clothes on TikTok. Dude, I'm so tired of receivers like this. You're no longer the best player at your position, and just go somewhere. And we see this happen. We see this happen all the time with receivers like this. That eventually the skill becomes not worth the pain in the ass, And I love that the Chiefs moved on from him and they won 2 Super Bowls.
Well, the reason I asked the question about the contender is because it feels like he's going to want more money than a team's going to be willing to pay him to fit into what they have there. So, like, I wonder who that's going to be or where that's going to come from.
Someone will take a chance on him.
I could see him going to the Cowboys just because they're
Yeah?
they're very Cowboysy.
Yeah.
And somebody did mention the Cooper Rush thing.
Yeah, they screwed Cooper Rush.
They totally did, but that wasn't the coach. The coach wouldn't do that to a player, I don't think. That was Jerry Jones.
Yes.
Jerry did
Jerry
that.
or Steven, maybe.
Cooper Rush needed, was it like 300,000, something like that? And it was a percentage of snaps, and he would have got it. And for some reason, they wanted to look at Trey Lance the last game of the year.
Yeah, he was, if he got 55% or more, he was going to get a huge bonus, and he was already at 52, and he would have eclipsed 55% during this game. And they're like, nah, we need to see what Lance can do for us.
You think Jerry just gives him a bag under the table?
No,
He's like, I don't want that on the books. Here you go.
I certainly hope you get caught doing that. You're in a world of trouble.
All right, well, so yes, I believe Tyreek will be playing on a contender. So just to to bring it full circle, I buy that. Stock Watch brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the News is next. I hate it when my cow goes missing. Here's Buck.
This is a Wild Card Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, the Blazers are in action right now. They are playing their third game of a 5-game road trip after splitting the first 2 in Detroit tonight. Chauncey Billups honored before the game. It's right now end of the first quarter. Blazers 28, Pistons 23. DeAndre Ayton leading the way for Portland with 8 points and 4 boards in the first frame. It was Black Monday in the NFL, and we saw a couple head coaches get the axe today. Patriots didn't even wait until Monday. They fired their head coach, Gerard Mayo, on Sunday after the Patriots beat Buffalo and played their way out of the number 1 overall pick. Jaguars firing Doug Peterson today, but retaining general manager Trent Baalke. In New York, Giants ownership is going to continue on with head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Shane, at least for the next season. The Chicago Bears have reportedly asked for permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy about the Bears head coaching vacancy, but McCarthy says he'd prefer to stay in Dallas. In local personnel news, the Seahawks fire offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just 1 season with the franchise. Seattle finished 14th in total offense this season and 18th in scoring offense. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny Wildcard Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
On 1080 The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Nice to have you along. Really is. It's January 6, 2025. It is time for In the News. I am your noted newsman. And what a special day it is.
It is a special day. I'm not going to talk about how I choose to celebrate. I mean, we all
Stop the steal, Jace.
We all celebrate in our own way.
We saw the videos of you storming the Capitol.
Look, much like the holidays, we all celebrate in our own ways, and just today was special.
It is also National Bean Day.
Like, just any kind of beans, or
yeah.
I don't need beans.
I hate beans.
Do you?
Yeah.
My son has a real bean problem.
The only beans I'll eat are with barbecue, the baked barbecue.
Yeah. A good someone that does a good barbecue bean.
Yeah.
But really, that's just a ton of bacon and brown sugar.
Exactly. Like it's not the bean.
No.
Beans are gross. It's just when you do them like that, I'll eat it.
String beans? Green beans?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't mind a well done string bean. Get a little crunch to it, and
I can do a green bean, but I don't. It's not my preference.
And if you throw some black beans on the side of a burrito or something, I'm fine with that. But if there's ever we're out of beans, I've never been like, oh man.
Yeah, beans are stupid.
Yeah.
It is also National Take Down the Christmas Tree Day.
Yeah, we have.
You done that yet?
No, everything is in the process of being dismantled. Like half the lights are down, the Christmas decorations have been taken down, but they're still like sitting in the living room. It's a process. You can't just do it all at once. I am thinking about going to permanent lights at the house, though, just not Christmas lights.
Yeah? What do you mean?
Well, I'm thinking about getting some white Christmas light type things and having them up all year.
And put them on every night?
Yeah, I really like houses that have
lit up
that have exterior lighting. Yeah,
like Christmas lights though.
I don't know. Maybe
are you talking about uplighting? Or?
Well, around I like some bushes and maybe some up into trees. I'm thinking about doing an exterior lighting project at the house.
Yeah, so you're not talking about Christmas lights. That's more like
not Christmas
uplighting.
Lights per se, but Christmas lights light. Like, when you line bushes and trees with the Christmas lights?
Yeah.
I want to do that, but with, regular lights, because the Christmas lights are probably a bit much in June.
No, wait. What are you calling regular lights? Are you saying white?
White lights. Yeah.
And the Christmas lights are multicolored?
Yes.
Is that what...
Our Christmas lights...
to me, those are all Christmas lights.
Oh, no. My Christmas lights are exclusively colored lights.
But you have some... I mean, I've seen homes or neighborhoods or, country clubs even, that have white lights adorning nice buildings all the time, year-round.
Yes. And
really?
I think it looks wonderful.
Kind of brightens everything from the exterior. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Well, look, we all know that the chance of me following through on this is 20%.
Well, you'll find out the cost, and you will.
Yeah. But I'm,
you will bulk.
I want to. I went to a botanical gardens that was lit up, and apparently it's lit up year-round. And I'm like, why can't I do this?
I'm asking where the white Power
Some
Rankings
lanterns
go.
hanging in trees. Looks great.
There's no reason you can't, Jace.
There's a reason why I won't, but, I know that I'll probably have to join a white supremacist gang. Gosh, really?
That one sounded like it was live.
Boy, that's uncomfortable. Context, people, context.
Well, how can we not play that on your day?
It's problematic.
Well, we have fleeing bovine news. A loose cow that had been missing for several days from a farm in Washington has been wrangled near 84, or on I-84 near Hood River.
I love cows.
That thing made it a long way.
Yeah, that's the night of the cow.
It also went for a dip in the Columbia.
Yeah.
But they're saying that
the Oregon State Troopers helped lasso it.
There was a cow on 84 near Hood River. They got the call on New Year's Day. The cow had been reported missing after escaping from its property a few days before up in Washington. The cow had also managed to jump into the Columbia River with its sighting reported by nearby fishermen as they came upon the freeway. Several people tried to corral the cow, but it jumped the median and headed down the railroad tracks. He then walked several miles, or she, I don't know, walked several miles on the tracks through a tunnel when officials said a woman stepped in front of the cow.
It's a bold move.
What do you suppose happened then?
Well, I'm guessing the cow stopped.
And then what?
Well, then they probably wrangled the cow. I saw the video of the state trooper getting the cow. The cow's adorable. And it had a little harness on its face.
The cow stopped, stared at the young woman, and then
ran her over.
Collapsed from exhaustion.
Oh.
Poor cow.
So sad.
That's a lot for that cow to go, to go through.
Big night for him or her.
Joyride.
Well, it is a her. If it was a male cow, it'd
be a bull, I guess.
Just guessing.
I love cows.
I'm just saying, I hope something good happens to that cow, because when you make a run like that, and I feel like you should get your freedom. I feel like that cow should get to live out its days on some sort of cow, what do you say, like sanctuary.
Well, what if you just let the cow roam? What do you think would happen?
Well, it'd probably get run over by a truck.
Or eaten by a wolf?
Yeah. The footage of it running down 84 is scary, because, dude, that thing could jump out in front of a thing at any moment. And clearly it was scared because it collapsed and it was, tired. So, I hope that the owners are good owners and that the cow didn't run away because those people are bastards. I just, I felt bad watching the cow on the run, knowing that that's as free as that cow will ever be.
They're eating the pets.
You know what could be one of the worst places to rob?
A gun store.
That's what I was going to say.
No, a pet store. Why would you rob a pet store?
Yeah, are they washed with cash? Although, you know me, there's that exotic bird hut that I'm convinced is a front for drug money. So
maybe that's why.
There's one of those in Beaverton too. I never see anyone go in or out of there, and it's like a full-on storefront in the strip mall. I'm like, no way.
I'm convinced that there's just illegal parrot fighting going on, and there's tons of cash. If you told me a pet store was robbed, I'm like, yeah, that's an illegal grow operation, and that's what's happening. I bought the cock, and then I released it. That did happen.
Pet store thief news, next on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories, brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
So 4th and 2. The Lions going for it, the Vikings bring it. He is a touchdown to Gibbs.
Jameer Gibbs, running wild.
Well, 4 touchdowns last night and ended up being the NFL leader in TDs this year.
Stud.
Set the franchise record, too.
Yeah.
Fans Window to Sports is brought to you by Window Nation. 50% off all window styles and 2 years interest-free financing right now. Schedule your estimate by calling 866-90-NATION or visiting windownation.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. We get booed all the time, whether that's in a YouTube chat
freeze-dried meal kits, and then we all bought like those Patriot generators. Just the real sense of community.
Hey, no one can ever say you didn't do your part.
Did you befriend the shaman? Or the shaman?
Stop the steal. Yeah, the shaman. Was that the guy with the horn hat? Isn't he in jail?
I think so.
I think he's in jail.
How'd you not go to jail? Put him in jail. You have Ken and Donnie. Keep you out of jail.
You gotta know people. Gotta know people.
What?
By the way,
and know when to go home, right? You gotta know when to go home.
As Kenny Rogers once said,
Know when to fold.
know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em.
I do think it was the shaman douche. Someone did point out that I think he has the same tattoo that I have on one of mine.
No way.
Someone was like, one of my buddies like took a photo of him and he's got something like on his ribs and they're like, "Hey Suk, don't you have this on your arm?" I was like, "Son of a."
That's your guy.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my quarterback.
The Bird Hut P1s are in.
The Bird Hut.
And they say that Bird Hut is great if you like birds.
I'm a quarterback. I'm sure it is. I do not want to disparage any business. I'm sure the Bird Hut is a wonderful place. I just want to believe that you can buy a lot more than birds at the Bird Hut. Every time I drive by that place, I'm like, no freaking way.
This happened last Thursday, but a Southeast Portland pet store was robbed at gunpoint.
Yeah, maybe it's just
Oh no.
I don't know if they're awash with cash, but maybe it's an easy, soft target, you know?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's why they... Yeah, but, okay, even with a soft target, it's a crime. So how much money do you think you're getting out of a pet store?
I'm going to say on any given day you're robbing a pet store, I'm going to say you walk out of there with $112.
Right. Is the logic that, pets are expensive and maybe they have a bunch of cat... Like, what?
Maybe the logic is just that it's an easy place to rob.
That's
not a lot of security,
I know,
not a lot of cameras.
Okay, but are you just robbing for fun?
Yeah.
Aren't you trying to get something out of it?
You would think that you are
I
trying
mean,
to
I
get
get
something
saying
out
I'm
of
going to avoid the banks because that's a federal crime, but, I mean, a pet store?
Honestly, because it's not a federal crime, right? Armed, I don't know. I don't know I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. Maybe we're sleeping.
I'm sure it's not.
Maybe the Bird Hut just has tons of cash on it. Like, what's a parrot run you? I think birds should cost like $4. Like, who buys? I get you a bird. Like, who's buying a bird? I go out to get you a bird. I'll get you a pigeon in 5 minutes.
A macaw costs anywhere between $700 and $3,000.
Well, maybe we're sleeping on the bird trade.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean people paying cash, you know. How much cash do they have on him? Anyway, the man enters the personal beast on Southeast Stark right around this time of day, Thursday. Pointed a gun at a customer and then demanded money from the register. The employee initially said no. So the suspect struck them in the head with the butt of the gun.
Pistol whipped him, Wyatt Earp style.
When he went to grab the register, he had his finger on the trigger and he fired the gun on accident into the floor. The bullet ricocheted around. There's a cement floor in there. And luckily, no one was hit, including the animals.
Dude, that's terrifying.
Well, I assume they have animals in there. Maybe not. The robber got away with... Any guesses?
I'm going to go $500.
$150.
Hey, I was pretty close
Not bad.
I was pretty close the first time.
I mean, what the hell? And apparently they didn't catch him. And maybe that's what it is. It's
They
like
don't look for you.
They won't look for him because it's only $150. So that guy's like, that was...
Maybe it's the easiest $150 that you'll ever get because no one takes
Seems like a lot of hoops to jump through to get $150.
Well, is the worst part of that crime the pistol whipping, I'm guessing?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Do you even need a gun?
Probably not.
Why don't you just go in there and demand? Just take the $150. You think that pet store clerk cares?
What do you think would happen if tomorrow on my way to the gym I swing by the Bird Hut as I drive by it every day and I just walked in and said, "Hey, how much cash you have on you?" What is the lady at the Bird Hut gonna say to that? I think that's probably enough to steal from the...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the gun.
No.
Just threaten.
Yeah. Just saying.
Or do the whole gun in the jacket pocket bit.
No, I think that might be the same thing. I think
illegal?
I still think they charge you with armed robbery for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, none of the animals at the store, including Freddie the house cat, were injured in the incident. So
I guarantee that person at the pet store is like, seriously?
And the employee is recovering at home.
Of all the places I
they
can
quit
work.
the next day probably.
Yeah. Like if you work at a 7-Eleven or like a Plaid Pantry, I'm guessing that's like every other Tuesday. But you're working at the Bird Hut, I would assume that's the safest place on earth.
Well, this text says an assault and firing the gun. Oh, they're looking for him. That may be true. He made some mistakes. I think Suk and I got it right. You walk in there and demand the money.
Yeah.
You
The
don't
first
hit,
mistake was deciding that was his best target.
You don't hit anyone. You don't have a gun.
No.
You just get your $150 and waltz out.
And walk away. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Like you would think you would rob I don't know. Now I don't want to like be like, hey, we'll go rob this place. It's just
What's the best bang for the buck for the least amount of trouble and charges?
Because weed stores have the most cash, but they have the most security.
Yeah, I feel like you're gonna get blown away at a weed
Well,
store.
and like everything's behind metal. Like you're not getting out. You're hooped. So that's right out. I'm trying to think of like a cash heavy place, but wouldn't have a ton of security behind it. Like where do you cash anymore? I'm trying to think of like what. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I paid cash for anything. Strip club?
Again, got to think security's pretty good most of
You
those
haven't been
places,
to
but
it.
Cameras
Seriously?
everywhere.
You're right.
You thinking the
Cameras, yes. Security, no.
Cameras, yes. Security, no. No offense to the strip club security, but you know, I'm going.
Well, I don't even know why you would need cash. Really?
Strip clubs.
Well, but I just mean like upstanding businesses.
Well,
you know.
Look at you being judgmental at strip clubs.
Well, yeah, I kind of am.
The text line is in. They said I'd take a crowbar to vending machines and coin-operated laundries.
Again, you're not getting.
You're not going to get a lot.
No, I'm telling you.
You don't think you don't think you get more than $150 out of the coin-operated laundry machines?
No.
You know?
No.
And even if you do, that's what, 40 pounds of coins you're hauling around now?
But if you want, I'm going bang for the buck. You go into a busy strip club on a Friday night and you rob the strip club and the patrons, you're walking out of there with 30 G's, no problem.
30 G's?
30 G's.
Someone says hit a food cart pod.
Food cart?
That a lot of them operate in cash, and you can go knock off a bunch of them in one place.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Although they can gang up and beat your ass.
Well, again, you got to have crowd control. You may have to make an example, you know.
Tell you what, I keep going back to the bank.
There's a good one.
You know, I mean, that's where all the money is.
That is where all the money is. It's also where the federal charges are. And they will look for you and they will find you. Although, look, we see enough of those stories. If you just do the register.
Small, yeah.
Yeah, dude, people.
It's not that.
Yeah, people get away with that stuff all the time.
There's your In the News, guys. As always, it is brought to you by The Advocates. Injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com.
If you've been injured in a bird accident, were you at the Bird Hut when someone robbed it and you got shanked? If so, call The Advocates.
You think that guy who got hit, I assume it's a guy, I don't know, is going, my God, I got a job at the pet store to avoid this kind of, like, that's like the easiest, most laid-back job at a pet store. And I get hit in the forehead with a freaking gun.
I guarantee that is the ultimate. What the hell, man?
Hell, now where am I going to work?
Maybe like an ice skating rink?
Those blades will get you.
Yeah, get you.
Coming up next is the Hot 5 at 5. All the big news of the day. It is Black Monday. A lot of coaches turfed. We'll get you the latest coming up next on The Fan.
The forecast calls for wet weather. It's time for Pub Beer's Wet January Report. Remember, dry January is fine, but don't judge people that need a beer with their football. Pub Beer, cheap fun.
So this one, we're to present to you somebody who just shouldn't have a dry January. Mm-hmm. They need to drink.
Yeah. Me? I don't want to have a dry January.
Well, I don't either.
The person working the Bird Hut?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That person. We'll go with that person
That
today.
person needs a pub beer in the worst possible way.
If they were dry for January, they aren't anymore.
Well, you get a nice cold pub beer, you put it on the head where you took the licking, and then, hang out with some birds and pop a few cold ones.
Dry January is fine, but don't judge people who need a beer with their football. Pub beer. Cheap fun.
Every year, as many as 19% of Americans
From the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brian Buckley with this Sports Center update first on The Fan. The Blazers in action right now on their third game of a 5-game road trip. They are in Detroit this evening. Chauncey Billups honored before the game. Portland up 60-51 at the half. 4 different Blazers in double figures. Denny Avdia, Anthony Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe all have 14. Simons also has added 7 assists. It's Black Monday in the NFL. Saw a couple head coaches get their walking papers today. Patriots didn't even wait until Monday. They fired head coach Jerod Mayo on Sunday after the Patriots beat Buffalo and played their way out of the number 1 overall pick. The Jaguars fired head coach Doug Peterson, but retained general manager Trent Baalke. New York Giants going to continue to roll with head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Shane as they get a vote of confidence from ownership there. The Chicago Bears have reportedly asked for permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy about the Bears head coaching vacancy, but McCarthy says he would prefer to be in Dallas. In local personnel news, the Seahawks fire offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just 1 season with the franchise. Seattle finished 14th in total offense and 18th in scoring offense. College football news, Oregon running back Jordan James and defensive tackle Derek Harmon have both declared for the NFL draft. Meanwhile, Ducks defensive back Jabbar Muhammad has accepted an invite to the East-West Shrine Game. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. It's 5 o'clock.
And I'm rarely late.
This is Wild Card Week with Isaac and Sue.
Injured? Don't trust just anyone to something so personal. Call George McCoy at Warren Allen. Online at warrenallen.com.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
Primetime with Isaac and Sue on 1080.
You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
The Fan.
All right. Nice to have you along. Hope you're having a good little Monday. It was a nice day out there.
It's a great day for me. I mean, this is one of my favorite days of the year.
Yeah, Jan 6.
Big fan.
Stop the steal.
By the way, someone has correctly pointed out the best place to rob. Like we were trying to find the softest target for like the most bang for the buck.
For cash.
For cash, right?
And I don't think it's dispensaries.
You cannot. I'm telling you, the security at dispensaries, if you've ever been to one of those, like you have to give the money to someone. They take that money and it goes behind like a big metal. You're not.
It's a legalized drug dealing operation.
Yes.
It's Fort Knox. You're not getting it from there.
They still can't bank, right?
No.
Like they
Straight
have
cash.
to. So everybody knows they have all their money on
Yes.
on the premises.
Good luck robbing a
Yeah,
dispensary.
you ain't getting that.
No, I've thought about that when like I go into that. The security that takes place, the only cash you're going to get from dispensary is the cash from the patrons. And chances are you're going to get locked in that place by like they're not messing around.
You can get some weed though.
You probably get some weed, yeah. So, but this person is correct. The old text line here. The place to rob is simple. Girl Scout cookie stand.
Oh,
Everyone
my
deals in
God.
cash and security. Quite pedestrian. We're dealing with usually like an overweight middle-aged mom and like 3 12-year-olds. And yes, that is a cash business. Girl Scout stand. Now, you're going to hell. Like that's like
yeah, that's another level.
yeah, you're going straight to hell. I mean, and not the good part of hell where there's like a lot of like drugs and like loose women.
That's like one of those.
No,
pick
like
on,
the hell.
Pick on somebody your own size. Like go to the bank. Like you want cash. Don't take it from little Missy May trying to sell lemon tarts or
Cindy
whatever.
Lou
they're called.
Who's out there trying to sell
Come
you
on,
some
dude.
s'mores. Just
Go to Wells Fargo. Well, maybe not Wells Fargo, but you know what I mean.
don't encourage anyone.
Yeah, sorry. I shouldn't have named
I
the
just
bank.
can't think of a lower form
Smaller credit
of
union?
human being than stealing from the Girl Scouts.
Shove that straight up your little kid ass. Yeah, you can't do that.
That is just at
You
least
can't
have some guts and rob the Boy Scouts.
You can't do that. You can't do that. Where were we?
I don't know. I feel like pistol whipping the pet store guy isn't a lot better.
It's not.
Look at us laughing at the poor sap working at the pet store with Frankie the house cat.
Yeah. I will say though that if you're working at a pet store, and I say this for anyone, if I'm working at Odyssey here, and someone comes in and is like, "Hey, give me everything Odyssey has," guess who isn't fighting back? Me. I'm like,
what would you give them?
I don't know.
What if some guy came in here right
Some
now and is like, "All right,
Roca?
you two, I want everything in here."
Here's a couple mic screens.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like, dude, if you like chairs,
Yeah.
you have come to the right place.
And you know what? I will help you. Instead of pistol whipping me, I will help you move some of those chairs to your van. Like, you don't need to be a hero. Okay? The person wants the $150 from the pet store. That ain't worth getting shot over.
In fact, put your feet up. I will load all the chairs for you.
Exactly.
I won't.
Yeah, you will.
I
He's
draw a line
brandishing
there.
a firearm. Yeah, you will.
I'm like, look, take whatever you want. Just leave me out of this.
Well, I've always thought about one of my favorite movies is Hell or High Water. It's a great movie and it's about bank robbers. And by the way, all that money is federally insured. And the last bank robbery there, it's in Texas. And the one dude decides that he's going to go all cowboy up and he takes out his concealed weapon and opens fire. And then like 9 people die. Look, you don't have, I'm saying it's like the bravest thing to do in the world, but no one needs to get shot. It's not your money.
Yeah. Our prized possession here is probably that nice water cooler in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be a little
There's a
protective
big
over that.
TV.
Yeah. You can again.
You could get the 1080 The Fan neon sign.
Yes, you could.
You could probably find Sook's golf bag somewhere around here.
Hey, we do. We have a, it's not mine, but we have Rob's old travel case over there. It's
No,
still
that's,
here.
That's gone.
No, it's gone now.
Oh, I saw it last week.
Oh, maybe it is still here. Because maybe it's
It's
still
just,
here.
yeah, it's
I
still
just
here.
haven't
Different
seen
part of
it.
the office.
Yeah, it's a different part of the office.
Well, if you got a big truck, you could take out those stupid $10,000 privacy pods that we put in.
Yeah, those
the
things
office.
those are spendy.
Nobody
Although
ever sits in them.
That's going to be hard to. You're going to have to take those down.
Yeah, good luck getting those out the door.
I'm just saying,
A couple microphones.
if you're working at a place and they come in and they're like, "Hey, give me this or I'm going to shoot you," your job is then to be like, "Whatever you want, sir."
I mean, I know this board here is like really expensive. I just don't know how anyone would come in and take it.
And it's not worth your face. Buck.
Nope, I would say have it.
I can't believe those dudes that are like Wells Fargo bank, like the armor truck drivers.
I got to defend this vault.
You're making $24.50 an hour.
They ain't paying you enough to defend the vault.
Yeah, that is a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah. Am I getting
Over my dead body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be your
All
dead
right.
body, Phil. Just let him have it.
Just let it go, Phil.
Not your money.
Well, guys, we will talk about Black Monday in our NFL Spelunkadunk coming up.
Ooh, Spelunkadunk.
Tonight in the club, I have been told of tales of a Fox lawsuit involving Joy Taylor,
Oh, yeah.
Skip Bayless, and others.
It involves kind of everybody.
Let's talk
And
about
there's
that.
one man whose name got in there that is breathing the sigh of relief of angels.
In
today.
fact, he came out smelling like a rose.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's in the club, 6 to 7. Right now, very late, the hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food. Discover Victorico's new savory menu items. Order in store, online, or get it delivered straight to your door at victoricos.com. Number 5.
Well, the Blazers are in Detroit, and they are winning again.
Yeah.
At half, it is 60 to 51.
Break them up, man. Just took out the Bucks.
Sharp, Simons, and Abdia all have 14. There are 5 teams firmly entrenched behind Portland in the race for the best odds for the number 1 pick. Right now, the Wizards leading that race to the bottom at 6 and 27. It was the Pelicans, but for some reason they won over the weekend. According to Chris Haynes, the Suns, who have lost 7 of 8, they have benched both Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic for Ryan Dunn and Mason Plumlee.
Yeah, hey, it's the Plumlee model.
Yeah, Mace.
We've tried that before. Yeah, the Suns are 15 and 18.
And the Mavs are losing Kyrie Irving 1 to 2 weeks. He has a back issue. There's your NBA. Don't say we never talk NBA, you bitches.
I'd be out for the
Number 4.
at one point surging Pistons, and now back to the broke his leg.
Trio of Ducks have declared for the NFL draft. No surprise. Jordan James, the running back, wide receiver Tez Johnson, and defensive tackle Derek Harmon.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be look, you've been recruiting great. You know you're going to hit the portal hard, but this is going to be a massive shift. You're going to lose your 3 best receivers. You're going to lose probably 4 of your 5 offensive linemen. You're going to lose most of your big production off of your defensive line, at least the 3 big ones. Almost your entire secondary. This is, and one of your best linebacker. Actually, your 2 best linebackers. This is going to be and quarterback. It's going to be a radically different team next year, and certainly less experienced than the one we've seen the last 2 years.
Number 3.
Well, the NFL playoffs are set. We've got the Eagles hosting the Packers on Sunday. Both quarterbacks are a little iffy. Jalen Hurts today still in concussion protocol, although they will not practice until Wednesday, so you won't know anything about him for a couple of days. Jordan Love fell on his elbow against the Bears, said he couldn't feel his throwing hand, but they said he could have gone back in the game if they needed. His deep threat receiver, Christian Watson, is a different story, however. He has a torn ACL.
It's a big deal right
And he
there.
is done for the season.
He really is their only vertical threat. Their offense becomes very horizontal without him. That's a huge blow for a Packers offense that just hasn't been quite the dynamic group that we thought it was going into this year.
By the way, on the Jalen Hurts thing, I know everyone was freaking out about that today. Come on. He'll be out.
He'll play.
He'll be out.
But you just wonder, kind of a rust factor there.
There will be a rust factor.
They're not winning without him.
Yeah, but they run the ball, play defense,
If it's not the Lions coming out of the NFC, it should be the Eagles.
Number 2.
Seahawks have fired offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. Just 1 season.
Yeah, I was kind of reading about it, and it sounds like they were just with some internal, maybe not thrilled with the way they went about going about their business on the offensive side of things. I mean,
well, they finished 21st in scoring. Yeah. They were 28th in rushing, and Mike McDonald said that the direction of the offense was different than his vision, which basically means he wants to run the ball.
Yeah,
and they were not getting any good at running the ball.
The problem is you had literally the worst offensive line in the entire NFL. So, I mean, look, ultimately it falls on one guy's head. It sounds like they didn't get along. They probably bumped heads, but I'm not sure how much of that is Grubb's fault when you literally have a garbage-ass offensive line.
Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has suffered a setback in his Achilles rehab, and they are now saying that he may not play at all next season.
No, there's some talk. They said that they're going to evaluate in another week or two, but he may need another surgery.
Ooh.
Look, can we just...
Is he done?
You know, the Browns want out of that deal and he is tired of being hated and he knows he's not any good. He's mentally broken. You wonder if they just get a doctor at this point to be like, hey, medically he can't play anymore. Let the insurance kick in. He gets all the money and the Browns get to move off of it and you're just done. That wouldn't shock me one bit if in the coming months you hear another surgery and then you hear insurance claim and finished.
It's Black Monday. So far, the Patriots and Jags have fired their head coaches. Gerard Mayo got 1 year in New England.
That is so weird. He was handpicked by Robert Kraft, and he's as the least talented team in the NFL, and you fire him after 1 year? That's odd.
4-13. Doug Peterson out in Jacksonville, 22-29 in 3 seasons there. The Jags did retain GM Trent Baalke, however. There are 3 other openings, Bears, Jets, and Saints, at least so far. The Saints have requested to speak with Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, and the Bears want to talk with Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy for some reason.
What?
It appears the Giants will retain both GM Joe Shane and coach Brian Daboll.
Boy, can the Bears be any dumber than just moving on from Eberflus and being like, hey, Mike McCarthy, come on down? Like, that's the most Bears thing ever if they do that.
We'll talk more about Black Monday coming up next. The Hot 5 at 5 brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, a hit with the whole family. Order in-store, online, or delivered to your door at victorricos.com. When you think of flavor, think of Victor Rico's. We'll be right back on 1080 The Fan.
The Seahawks are out of the playoffs.
Gino takes a shotgun snap, gives a look outside. Now he breaks a tackle. Now he looks. Now he gets hit as he's throwing the
Mexican City.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
On 1080 The Fan.
All right, Black Monday. So far, only 2 firings.
Yeah.
That's kind of unusual for the NFL.
Yeah, normally you get a run of these things. But we would assume that the Giants would have made a move. They're not. Sounds like the Colts aren't making a move.
And we did have 3 in-season firings,
That's
so there's
true.
5 total.
There's still 5 openings.
5 openings.
That's a little low.
Well,
normally there's like 8 or 9, aren't there?
Yeah, I think the Giants, the Colts, and the Dolphins are all. The Giants maybe don't quite fall into this category. I think it's the idea, like with the Dolphins and the Colts. You kind of have a lot of money invested, and there's no real way to get off of it. So you're going to take a kick in the junk either way. So it's kind of along the lines of, well, let's just play it out one more year. And then both of those teams and the Giants to an extent can do a hard reset at the end of next year and just flush everything if it doesn't go the way that you want it to. Because while the Giants do need to find a quarterback, the Colts and the Dolphins still kind of obviously have theirs. So you kind of, I guess that makes sense. Where in a lot of years, both of those guys would have been fired. The Giants, I don't know what the Giants are doing.
I don't either. But I don't know. I guess continuity's good.
I guess.
They're just blaming it all on Daniel Jones.
Yes. And he did say, I don't remember if it was the GM or if it was Dable that said that, yes, we're back, but they said that the owner has completely lost patience. So
that means
Mara himself said it today.
Turn it around, baby.
They said
right now.
I'm trying to remember how they phrased it to him, and he said, "We will continue down this path right now, but I'm losing my patience. Or I'm running out of patience."
So Dable could get fired
mid-season if it goes bad. Yeah.
Who's their quarterback next year?
They don't have one. They'll go in the draft. But they don't have one of the. Let me look at I think they're picking.
They're not in the top 5. Are they?
Yeah, they're in the top.
I don't think they are.
Let me see where we got.
I wrote that down earlier.
I have it right here. So Tennessee's 1. By the way, the Patriots, this is so stupid. So if you're they fired Mayo like 2 seconds after the game. They did the on the tarmac Lane Kiffin thing.
And he won.
And if you're going to fire him, then don't let him coach that game, because with that win, and Joe Milton, by the way, holy hell.
Yeah.
Best throw you'll see all year.
I didn't watch any of it because I don't care. I mean,
that's the Lovie Smith. He won the last game before the Texans fired him, and it cost them the number 1 overall pick.
Oh, that's right.
So the Patriots went from the number 1 overall pick, and because they had that meaningless win against the Bills and fired your coach, they went from 1 to 4. The Giants picked 3rd.
Oh, they do pick 3rd.
So it's kind of a wonky thing, because a lot of people think it is a 2-quarterback draft, and that Ward and Sanders 1-2, and Tennessee and Cleveland both need quarterbacks. So the Giants need a quarterback. They got to figure something out. So, are they in the Sam Darnold thing? Do you try to go out and try to make a play for him? Do you try to move up into 1, 2, or one of the 2 spots? Is there another quarterback somewhere on the board that you like? But probably not one that's worth taking at 3. But they are in a. I mean, I think Dable gets fired because I don't think that thing gets turned around. But he stuck around. Cleveland didn't make a move. Antonio Pierce, for whatever reason, said he thinks he'll be back. I don't know why he would. He's another guy that could easily be gone. I'm trying to think of what else.
One of the reasons with him that he thinks he'll be back is that he said he talks with Mark Davis all the time, and he told him to go out and win some football games, and he won 2 of the last 3. He thinks that's what he's supposed to do.
Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys could make a move, but,
McCarthy's contract's up Sunday, I think, or something?
Something like that.
It'd be just like Jerry to be like, well, we're not going to renew him for the Cowboys.
So those are the ones that could come open. That's about it. Everything else is...
Titans are going to stick with whoever...
Yep. Titans are sticking.
Titans guy is?
Yep, Titans are sticking. And they've got the number 1 overall pick. So they'll move on from, obviously, Will Levis. And we'll see where we go. And it's Brian Callahan is their coach.
Back to the Patriots real quick. So they fire Mayo, who was the coach in waiting.
Yes. So
he was they pinpointed him as the coach to follow Bill Belichick the whole time.
Handpicked.
And then they only gave him 1 year. So they passed on Mike Vrabel to get Mayo in there. And then now they have fired Mayo after a year to get Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. Welcome.
Can I just say, look,
I know where you're going with this, and you're not wrong.
I don't want to minimize the role of Robert Kraft nor Bill Belichick in the Patriots dynasty. But my God, are we learning that Tom Brady was a much bigger piece of that than those other two guys?
It at least appears. Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Uh-oh.
It's already been addressed.
It's January 6th.
There's one on the horizon.
I hate that.
It is a real possibility that we are seeing the fall of an empire, and that these are the sorts of things that these are the knee-jerk things where once good organizations fall and never quite get up off the mat. And, even towards the end of the Brady Belichick thing, Kraft was getting involved in personnel decisions and the pissy match between Brady and Belichick, and Tom leaves and goes down and wins. And there was an ugly ending with Belichick. And then obviously your handpicked guy, you give him no time whatsoever with the least talented roster. You keep your GM around, and I'm sorry, but you're keeping your GM around. Why? I mean, he fell into Drake May. It was the only thing that he did that was good. Unless this was just behind the scenes and unmitigated disaster with Mayo, and now you're going to the Vrabel. We'll see where this goes. But again, it's a really bad roster right now. You do have a quarterback. Just keep an eye on that.
Well, they haven't hired Vrabel.
No, but
I think that
seems to be the assumption.
I think they're a little worried that Vrabel already interviewed with the Jets.
Yeah,
and of course he's a Patriots guy, played there. So I'm guessing they're probably, if you want to give them some credit and look at and spin this positive, you could say, well, they're righting a wrong. They know they screwed up, and Vrabel's sitting out there ready to get back in the game. So let's go get Vrabel. I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, but I don't know why Vrabel all of a sudden is a hot name when nobody wanted him last year.
Yeah, because apparently he was too gruff.
Right.
He was too intimidating.
And now all of a sudden he's like the hot guy out there.
Well, man,
NFL's weird.
When you have bad ownership, bad front office, it all trickles down. And I am going to be very interested to see if New England kind of, as Kraft gets older, and if he goes kind of the Davis road, and even Jerry Jones to an extent, we just get to a certain age and you just kind of become old and you're chasing the past.
He may already be low key that.
It's possible.
Because have you seen all this stuff with him trying to get into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a shame that he's not in the Hall of Fame, but for some reason, they will not put him in the Hall of Fame.
No.
And he's livid about it.
Yeah.
He released that whole documentary about himself just to try to help his cause. It's a very strange situation with Robert Kraft. And he's getting up there.
He's getting up there. I've thought that exact same thing. Are we just seeing the entire empire just with cracks in the foundation, and Tom was the spackle. He was the mortar that kept everything together. And Tom left and Bill left, and now
Kraft's older than Jerry.
Yeah. He's like in his what? He's
83.
He's 83. Well, we all make fun of Jerry for chasing the past, and you can say what you will about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones won 3 Super Bowls. Now it's not, what Robert Kraft did, but Jerry at one time was top of the world, and Al Davis was too at one point. Let's not act like the Raiders weren't at one point a great organization.
Yeah, but this is Mark.
Yes. I'm just saying Al fell from grace towards the end too.
Well, they all get old and weird.
Yes.
And they just, I don't know.
Have you watched old people just get older?
Yeah.
They start becoming strange, whether it's your parents or they lose themselves and become a weirder version.
Well, and now too, it's funny because you become old. You have all the power in the world. No one's willing to check you on it. You have all that success that you think you can do it again, and you think you're the reason why.
Maybe a little desperate.
Yeah. You start grasping at straws.
Not thinking clearly. Vrabel, although if they hire Vrabel, that's a pretty good hire for the Patriots.
I would think.
But they should have done it last year, is all I'm saying.
Or if Mayer really was I would love to know, and maybe more comes out, I would love to know what exactly he did to get fired after a year when he had no one to work with, no roster whatsoever. In fact, I think you can make the argument, at least from the offensive side of things, they outperformed what they should have been. Battle line, worst weapons in the league, and I thought Drake May was the one bright spot they had.
More on Black Monday coming up next as our NFL Spelunkadunk continues. We also have a notable notation of note regarding the playoffs, a stat, as it were, when we return. But first, Buck with SportsCenter.
Playoffs? This is a wild card
All right, wrapping up the NFL Spelunkadunk. Then we get to the club. We've got a juicy lawsuit coming down in the world of sports.
Oh, yeah. None of the people involved in it are willing. They're all pretending like they didn't get depantsed in front of a national audience. They all went on their shows today are like, no, don't mind me.
Well, one person was dressed considerably different than normal.
That'll be
joy
addressed in the club. But a couple notable notations. But first, wrapping up Black Monday. Who do the Jags go get? What would you do there? You do have Trevi.
Yeah. I mean, look.
So you got a decent quarterback.
Yeah. I would think that the top name on everyone's list, I would assume, is going to be Ben Johnson.
But he's not going to Jacksonville.
I wouldn't think so. That doesn't seem like I would think that he would have his pick. Although, you go to Jacksonville and, Jacksonville's roster is not barren, and you do have a quarterback that has shown promise. I don't know if you say that's a franchise quarterback, but I don't think that's the worst place in the world to go.
What's the best job open? Jets, Bears, Jags, Patriots, or Saints?
Ooh, God. Run that by me one more time.
Jets, Bears, Jags, Patriots, Saints.
Yuck.
Is it a different answer for roster and organization?
Yeah,
because I feel like the Bears definitely has the best roster there, but a lot of people have been complaining about how the Bears organization has just run things over the years.
Yeah, and they're keeping they're keeping Poles the GM, and I'm not certain if you want to
hitch your wagon to that.
If you want to hitch your wagon to that.
But the players you'd inherit might be the best of those that you named.
I think it's the best collection, but then, it goes
Isn't
down.
the Jets the best collection?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I mean.
No, the Jets are old and the Jets are broken. Like, Devontae Adams is expensive. You probably can't bring him back. You don't have a quarterback at all. Your offensive line is in shambles and was old. The defense was pretty good.
Do the Bears have a quarterback?
Well, that's the bigger question. I think if you believe in Caleb Williams and that you can fix Caleb Williams, the answer is the Chicago Bears. But that's a big if, because that's an organization that continues to F up, is not viewed as a good front office necessarily from ownership on down. And if you don't believe in Caleb Williams, then, or if you don't want to deal with the GM, if you don't get along with him, that would be problematic.
So the team that has an opening with the best quarterback situation, dare I say New England?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He's
May is
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drake May is.
They don't have a lot around
really
him, but he's
good.
been okay.
But
And you have a bunch of money to go out and
you do have an
retool.
owner that just won a bunch of rings.
Yeah.
But then you've got Carr, New Orleans, but that's a bad franchise.
It's a bad franchise, and you got cap situations that are going to be problematic too. I'm not certain that I would. I mean, look, NFL jobs, there's only so many of them, and so like if that comes up, that's not going to be one that that people are going to just turn down. But again, if Ben Johnson should get his pick of those, and I do not think that he would. I don't think he would take the New Orleans job. I think Chicago. I think New England. I think to an extent Jacksonville.
Maybe Chicago, with Caleb.
Probably
but
has
he
that.
had his pick last year and he stayed. So this looks like a worse lot of picks.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Stay again.
Maybe he stays again.
Well, Aaron Glenn, New Orleans. Aaron Glenn was the first runner up last year. So my guess is that Aaron Glenn probably ends up in New Orleans.
Well, that I can see.
Yes.
But that kind of fits. But Ben Johnson, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
know if any of those are good for him, except for maybe working with Caleb.
And I do think that if you're Ben Johnson and you go to New England and you can get some clarity and you can sit down with Elliott Wolf, the GM in Kraft, and be like, hey, we're going to do this together. New England has a ton of picks. New England has $130 million in cap space. And more importantly, they've got a young quarterback that I think Ben Johnson would be really excited about. If I'm not mistaken, I believe New England has the most cap space of any team available. So I think that may be something there. If you're Ben, but you're right. Ben turned him down last year to come back to Detroit. And I don't know if there's great candidates this year, but I would assume that both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are both gone at the end of this year. To keep both of those guys for an extra year, I mean, just to keep one of those guys was amazing, but to keep both And this is the thing that scares me a little bit about the Lions. You talk about this all the time. When you have coaches that are interviewing for other jobs and eyes off the ball, if you want to talk about something besides injuries that could be problematic for Detroit, your two coordinators are two of the three best. So the names that are out there, right, that everyone wants. Vrabel is there, and then it's Ben Johnson and it's and Aaron Glenn, and then what? Liam Cohen, who's the coordinator for the Buccaneers. Those are kind of the four names you hear. That would scare me to death if I'm Dan Campbell and the Lions, that my guys are, there's no way around it. You don't have their full attention. They are actively pursuing other jobs. It would scare me to death.
All right, well, we'll see. And maybe some more openings come up,
Yeah. Like I said, the Raiders,
not over.
The Raiders could come open.
The Bengals
potentially could come open. The Browns,
Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys.
There you go. Ben Johnson to Dallas.
I'm all right. Again, I don't.
What do you mean you're all right?
If I am a coach.
Oh, you're saying if you're the Cowboys, you don't want him?
No, if I'm Ben Johnson, I don't want that job.
Oh.
If I am a coach, I am looking for three things. One, stability in ownership. And I don't know how many great owners there are, but that would be a big one for me. Ownership, GM, can I get along with that? And then it is quarterback. Do I have a franchise quarterback, and do I have space? Or am I a little hamstrung with my roster? Do you realize that the New Orleans Saints, I wanted to look this up, and yes, I was right. The New England has $132 million in cap space. They can revamp that team with a draft and a cheap quarterback. New England can turn that thing around. New Orleans, on the other hand, and again, think about how hard this is going to be. Would you care to guess?
5.
They're 32, by the way.
What?
The New England's number 1 for cap space.
Yeah, they're Saints are last.
Yes. Would you care to guess?
5.
Oh, it's in the negative.
Oh, cap space?
It's negative.
Negative $8 billion.
Now just give me a realistic number that you think.
I don't know, 30 million?
Keep going.
70 million?
Keep going.
125 million.
They are
more.
$78 million behind.
Well, I almost got it.
So, like, just to let you know, the worst other situation in the NFL is the Cleveland Browns at negative 19. So, and the Saints don't have a quarterback. They don't have the ability to go out and get a quarterback.
Derek Carr.
They don't have a quarterback. They don't have the ability to go out and get a quarterback.
Spencer Rattler.
They don't have a quarterback. They don't have the ability to go to get a quarterback.
Josh Hainer.
They don't have
Jake Hainer.
They don't have a quarterback. So
can we keep going?
If I'm Aaron Glenn, no offense,
Taysom Hill.
Stick around. Well, that's probably the best one. I'd stick around in Detroit before I'd go take that New Orleans job. Unless you just want look, it's a $20 to $25 million payday. It's guaranteed money. And you never know when it's going to...
That's why Aaron Glenn fits. Yeah, it's like, I just go down there. You're not the most coveted guy. It'll be cool. You're bring some culture.
Yeah.
Bring that Dan Campbell toughness down there.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're not going to have any good players to work with.
Well, it's
maybe Jacksonville is a sneaky good job compared to these others.
It's compared to some of the other ones.
Because Shad Khan or whatever his name is, he'll
money.
Spend.
Yeah. All right, they're middle of
the
pack.
You
got Trevor. And
Excuse me.
There's some weapons there.
Trent Baalke is
He's coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Fartgate. Well, anyway, our NFL Spelunkedunk continues next. A couple of notes to wrap up the playoff talk as we get set for Wildcard Weekend on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, it's mass exodus.
Yeah. I mean,
everybody's leaving. Dan Lanning going to the Jets.
No. But we do the Ducks. Yeah, Tez is gone. Derek Harmon is gone. Jordan James is gone. Those are the guys that are leaving early. And then, obviously, look, this will be, I think, the biggest turnover we've seen in the Ducks roster in a while. A lot of talent, a lot of young talent, but it's going to be unproven next year.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
Oregon exits the college football playoff.
Got the edge, and here he goes. I don't know. 30, 20, 10, touchdown Ohio State. Holy moly. I am shocked.
Does Mexican soup.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
On 1080 The Fan.
Yeah, we've been all NFL today. You know, the college football playoffs is this week.
Yeah.
Still got the semis. Just because the Ducks are out of it.
See, you rolled your way into the semis.
So that'll be Thursday and Friday. Wrapping up the NFL Spelunkadunk, I've got a little nugget here. One courtesy of producer Ryan Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
But first, and this shouldn't shock you, but I thought the correlation was quite strong that I wanted to tell you.
Talk to me.
Or quiz you. So there are 14 teams in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 14, how many are in the top 15 in one category? And what would you think that one category is? No, let me say it to you this way. Sorry. 13 of the 14 playoff teams are in the top 15 in this category. That's probably an easier way to.
Yeah.
So they're all in there.
And we're not talking about like an EPA sort of thing. This is like a major category.
Yeah. Yep.
Rushing.
It's not rushing. It's the thing they always talk about. Decides games more than
turnovers.
Turnover margin per game.
Yeah.
13 of the 14 teams are in the top 15. Like it's I was just looking through some stats. It's just uncanny that you read through you just look at the turnover margin per game page. All the playoff teams, top 15.
Makes
all the
sense.
crappy teams, bottom 15. Really one exception. You know who that is?
I'm trying to think of who turns the ball over a bunch. It's not like Kansas City, is it?
No, it's not Kansas City. There's one team that is in the playoffs that is not in the top 15 of turnover margin per game. They are 18th though, so they're
18. So it's right on the
they're
cusp.
close.
I don't know who you got.
The Bucks.
Oh,
that's the one team that turns it over.
Yeah, and we don't really think the Bucks are like. I mean, the Bucks are. Let's be honest. The Bucks are there because they play in a crappy division, and someone had to win that division. Like. You know.
Now, there are two teams that are not in the postseason that are top 15 in turnover margin per game. Those teams are the Bengals and, believe it or not, the Bears.
Huh. Well, the Bears have a lot. I mean, the Bears do get a lot of takeaways. And believe it or not, Caleb Williams didn't throw that many picks this year. He throws a lot of screen passes. I'll have to pull him up. But for all the talk of Jaden Daniels having obviously this phenomenal year and franchise quarterback, his numbers and Caleb Williams' numbers aren't that dissimilar. It's
but he runs.
He runs. I mean, he's so good with his legs. I'm just saying it's not quite as alarming as you would think. I gotta pull up his numbers and see, but I don't think he turned it over that much.
He went like a 5 or 6 game stretch towards the end of the season where he did not throw a pick, and I think he might have even set a rookie record for attempts without a pick.
Let's go.
Well, I mean, there's at least something.
Go Bears.
All right, so here we go. Let's look at old Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels here. So Jaden Daniels threw for 35-68. Caleb Williams threw for 35-41.
That's more than I would have thought.
Right?
Because it seems like every week he's throwing for 150.
Yeah, right? So,
But they were behind a lot.
They were behind a lot. But, those numbers are very close. Daniels completed 69% of his passes, Williams 63%. So, a bump. 7.4 per attempt for Daniels, 6.3 for Williams.
Yeah,
so
it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. 20 touchdown passes to 25.
Who had 25?
Daniels. And 9 picks for Daniels and only 6 for Caleb Williams.
Wow. They are closer than I would have thought.
And the quarterback rating is significant. I mean, 100 for Daniels and 88 for Williams. But one gets talked about as this generational player, and the other one, people crap all over. And, just the numbers they're in the ballpark.
Well, his team's winning.
Yes, his team's
Jaden
winning.
Daniels.
And his legs are a huge difference.
Yeah. And he just has kind of that it. Like, he just made plays.
He has an it factor, and
Caleb
Williams does not.
He's just like, oh, God. It's like, it's kind of one of those where you watch him with one eye, like your hands over your face, just like peeking, like, he's just got a little.
And his season collapsed after the Hail Mary against Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen, and maybe we'll get a look next year. I would just like to see him with a more competent offense, because I think he had better talent around him, but I think the structure that Cliff Kingsbury and the Commanders put around him is so much better than whatever the hell they were doing in Chicago, because they didn't have a plan to speak of at all. But I was thinking more like rushing, because when you look at the best rushing teams, like the NFL is throwing.
There is definitely a correlation with rushing for sure.
But number one rushing team in the league, Baltimore, then Philly, then Washington, then Tampa, then Green Bay, then Detroit. You see a theme?
Exactly.
Then 2 down from that is Buffalo. 1 down from that is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of a gap, and we get into like the Chargers.
Who's the worst rushing team in the field?
In the field? Let's look at the playoffs.
Vikings, maybe?
I think it's actually Kansas City.
Really?
Yeah. Nope, Rams.
Rams
are the worst. Rams are the worst rushing offense.
That doesn't bode well.
Yeah. Rams and Chiefs.
You got to run the football, man.
The bottom 2. Yeah. Unless you're Kansas City, then you just get to 3rd down and tell Mahomes to go do Mahomes things.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's weird. They're 15-1, or actually 15-2 now, because whatever.
Losers.
15-2, 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, and I don't know how many people have any faith whatsoever that they are gonna win another one, or even one of the 2 or 3 favorites.
There's a couple really good teams in the AFC this year.
Yep.
Baltimore, Buffalo.
And it's just funny to say that you're unimpressive at 15-2, but you are.
Yeah.
It's weird.
They're
Never seen anything
unimpressive
like it.
compared to their last couple of years.
Yes.
For sure. But their defense is sick.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid is Andy Reid. It didn't look all that pretty.
It did not.
But
they're 15-2.
All they do is win.
Yeah. It just reminds me a little bit of like that Florida State team that was undefeated, but like you're like, and then Oregon just pantsed them.
Chiefs Lions Super Bowl. No chance, right? Right?
No, there's a chance.
But I mean, you know what I mean. Like, come on, that's not happening.
If you ask me which one was more likely to get there, I'd say Detroit. I just don't see Kansas City getting by Baltimore or Buffalo in the playoffs. I don't know if there's another NFC team that scares me, though.
That's a good question. Like, what are the odds? Chiefs or Lions? Who has better odds to make the Super Bowl?
I would assume the Lions.
Probably because they're in the NFC.
In the NFC. I mean, look, you take Philadelphia out, and Philadelphia's got their own questions. They got Sirianni, or Hurts is banged up.
Yeah, after Philly, the NFC is wide open. After Detroit and Philly.
Certainly feels that way. I mean, we're talking about Detroit, so you remove Detroit out of it, and especially after last night, I think people have really soured on Minnesota. And by the way, right now, this according to
I've got it on FanDuel here.
Vegas Insider, the Lions are the favorite at plus 280, and your Chefs are second at plus 350.
Wait, Super Bowl or to win the conference?
No, it's Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so that's
win the whole thing.
That right there tells me that the NFC is just an easier path for Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's plus 130 to win the NFC. KC plus 155 to win the AFC.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, so Detroit is still a better favorite. Yeah. Slightly.
Well, and in the AFC, the Bills a narrower second. They're plus 250, whereas the Eagles are plus 320 in the NFC.
And if you're looking at Super Bowl odds, so Lions at plus 250, and then the Chiefs plus 350, Ravens, Bills both at plus 600, and then you got to jump down. The Eagles are plus 800. So just go, that goes to the
wow.
The AFC has 3 teams.
I'll tell you what, that Eagles bet, that's not a bad bet.
There's some value out there.
Yeah.
Because
Vikings now at plus 16.
That defense can slow down the Lions a little bit, can't they?
I would think, although not many people have, but that Philly defense is really, really
it's
good.
It's really good.
And they've got corners that can play and man up.
Wonder why they're so low.
I don't know. If you wanted a flyer on and then this is winning the Super Bowl. This isn't getting to the Super Bowl. So you got to believe they got to get there.
Well, you would hedge that. Like that's one that you would just hope that the Eagles get to the Super Bowl and then you'd hedge out of it.
Buck, what do you got on the Eagles to win the NFC? Because I just have the Super Bowl.
To win the NFC, Eagles plus 320.
Okay. So that's not that great of a
It goes from Lions plus 130, Eagles plus 320, and then you get into Vikings plus 650, Packers plus 950.
Your better bet is to, if you like the Eagles, is to just take them to win the Super Bowl and then half it or hedge out.
Hedge it, yeah.
Because that's plus 800 is a tasty line for a Philadelphia team when healthy. It's probably the most. It's not probably. When healthy, it's the most talented roster. Certainly in the NFC,
well,
and it's probably the most talented roster in the NFL, period.
I mentioned this earlier, but if Jalen Hurts plays, they will have all 22 starters healthy for that game against the Packers.
Well, and if we're going position by position, where is Philadelphia's weakness?
No, I mean, I don't know how you – quarterback?
Honestly, and that's a guy that a couple years ago had the game of his life in the Super Bowl, should have won minus his defense, but –
I don't really trust him.
You got a really good O-line, an MVP running back, 2 ridiculous receivers, a good tight end, and then your defense right now, my God, it's lights out.
They're nasty.
You've got multiple Defense of the Year candidates on your D.
Yeah.
And yet Nick Sirianni, which
maybe it should be Kenny Pickett at quarterback.
Old Tenny Two Gloves.
Just to challenge themselves.
Just see what's up.
All right. I'm worn out. That was a lot of hot
That
sports
is a
talk.
lot.
Whew. This is hard.
Yeah.
You Gatorade and a towel. Time out.
I'm exhausted.
Let's get a TO.
TO, baby, TO. Our Bison, by the way, kicking the living hell out of our Bobcats.
It's 21-10.
That's
How
an
is
ass
that kicking the living hell out of? This is like you.
It was 21-3, honestly.
This is like you bragging about Virginia Tech winning when they were up 7-0 and they ended up losing 21-7.
It didn't work. I lost my $20.
I mean, it's 21-10.
When I saw it, it was 21-3. I didn't see the extra touchdown. When did that touchdown happen?
Just a little bit ago.
Yeah, I didn't see
I've
it.
got my eye on this. My Bobcats are hanging around.
You want to bet?
Why did you say that twice? No, I don't want to bet. But,
Is there a lot of wheat in North Dakota?
Yes.
Okay. It looks like the Bison have a wheat stripe. Bison. They got a wheat stripe. I didn't know there was a bunch of wheat in the Dakotas.
I got to tell you, I don't like how Montana State looks a little bit like Washington. I know they're blue,
but yeah, it
kind of looks
it's got
purple,
a purple tint with the
and
gold
they have
helmet.
the M on the helmet, which looks like an upside down.
I'm with you.
W.
Yeah.
And the gold helmets.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
They could do better.
I'm gonna go with the Bison for that
Let's
reason.
do it. Bison.
Our Bison.
Yeah.
All right, we have a big lawsuit to talk about involving names in
they
sports.
Named names.
Sports media lawsuits. These are juicy. That's next on The Fan.
I'll get it in.
It's football time at BetMGM. Use code
a pseudo star for about 2 years. That kind of deep voice.
I kind of like this. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not against it. I don't know if I'd listen to it like in the car, but it's like a weird funeral sort of thing to it.
Yeah, a little bit. Very choiry.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was thinking like it's like Elvira. There's always like those like a barbershop quartet. You know, boom, bop, boom. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Hey, 21-16.
Oh,
here come the Bobbies.
Our Bobcats. We're off the Bison now.
Yep, they're back to being our Bobcats.
You're right. It does have a UW look to it, though.
Yeah, they look like UW.
I just say they could do a lot better. Like you've got a cool Bobcat logo. Why is that dumb M on your helmet? Looks terrible.
Well, it's from Montana State.
I don't like it. Why is there like you could come up with a lot better than just a weird M?
I agree.
They mailed in that logo, and I'm not here for it.
Well, Bobcats that's kind of a dumb mascot anyway.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, it's the lesser of the. Oh, look at this.
Well, yeah, it's
you're
your way.
Gosh,
yeah,
this is what leads to the 16.
It's 21-18 now.
Okay.
Trust me.
Yeah, of the cats, it does feel a little bit like the bobcat is the lamest of the wild animals that you can have. You got like the lynx, you got like the wildcat, you got you got a cougar, you got a puma. There's all kinds of cool things that you can come up with.
Bobcat?
Then you get a bobcat, like whatever.
It's like it's like being the coyotes.
The coyotes, exactly. Like be a wolf. Be something. Be a loser coyote.
I will say, I appreciate when someone does something indigenous to the region. It's always weird when you get something. It's like, oh, we're the Falcons, and there's no Falcons within hundreds of miles.
I'm pretty certain that there's mountain lions in.
Well, sure. I'm not, but
like
at least
Vermont
a bobcat
does like the catamounts, which is just another cool name for a cougar.
Yeah.
There's a million names for the cougar, and yet you came up with a bobcat. Why don't you just be the Montana State house kitties while you're at it? Because that's all that is, just a bigger version of a house cat.
Meow. Yeah, the Utah Jazz. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but at least that came from New Orleans.
Well, I know, but it's not New Orleans. It's in Utah. That makes no sense.
No.
The Lakers?
The Lakers in L.A. Yeah.
They're going to be required to change all those. I mean, you can't change the Lakers now. They're too...
I will say that having been in Utah, there is no Jazz.
That's what I'm saying.
That is if you had to come up with the worst fit in all of sports.
There are lakes in California.
Yes.
And in Southern California.
But not in Los Angeles. Are there lakes in Los Angeles?
I
Los
guarantee
Angeles
there's lakes in Los Angeles. I bet you there's a Los Angeles lake. Don't they?
Ooh, nice. I bet there isn't.
Well, let's look. It's probably Lake Los Angeles.
Google Maps.
Wait, don't they have that sewer like thing that runs through the middle?
Oh, it sounds like a Great Lake. That sewer thing.
That's pretty close to a lake.
I'm gonna look. You got Silver Lake in Los Angeles. Here,
Silver Lake?
It's Silver Lake Reservoir, so that's man-made.
Here's the 6 best lakes for Los Angeles, according to Time Out magazine.
Okay. It's a good magazine.
You a big fan of the Time Out?
They start listing lakes that are well outside of Los Angeles. Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead.
Oh, Big Bear's not in L.A.
These aren't out. These are just SoCal.
You're not giving them credit for that?
No. It's hours away.
God, 2 hours and 30 minutes from L.A.?
There's no lake in L.A.
All right, Lake Arrowhead, it's 2 hours. Lake Gregory, 1 hour 45.
Okay.
Silverwood, an hour 30. We're getting better.
Have we found Lake Los Angeles yet?
He seems to think Lake Los Angeles is that ravine running through the middle of the city with no water in it.
The Hollywood Reservoir?
Is that what it's called?
No.
I'm not
but
gonna
there's
lie.
something else called the Hollywood Reservoir.
According to Time Out magazine, like the best we're getting is 45 minutes, it looks like. Yeah. What about the great Pudding Stone Lake?
Sure, Pudding Stone Lake.
Santa Fe Reservoir. There you go, right here. Echo Park Lake, right in the middle of downtown LA, 5 minutes from the heart of the city.
There you go.
Echo Park Lake.
By the way, there is a Lake Los Angeles.
Suck it, Buck.
But it's
Suck
not
it.
it's not a lake.
What is it?
It's a town.
Oh.
And there's no lake.
What?
Yeah.
That seems a little.
Isn't that weird?
That seems a little odd. So it's just Lake Los Angeles, but it's
That's what it says.
There's no lake.
There's an Ace Hardware there.
It's a quality hardware store. That's locally owned, is what that is. It's like their version of Bimart.
The Echo Park Lake, not a natural lake.
It's still a lake.
It is. I guess.
It looks beautiful.
After the Los
Look at
Angeles
you
Canal and
questioning-
Reservoir Company came in and made it one.
Are you questioning fake lakes?
I feel
Kinda,
like he is.
yeah.
They're lakes.
Well, yeah.
You can rent swan boats on it. And it says it's right here. They're particularly dreamy after dark, according to Time Out magazine.
But if we're saying that the team name is apropos of the region, that would not be true here.
Right. Back
All
to the original point.
So let's ask the
Yes.
question. Which is more egregious then? The Los Angeles Echo Park Lakers or the Utah Jazz?
It's still the Jazz.
It's probably the Jazz, but surely there's a jazz club up there somewhere, right?
There's at least one jazz musician
Don't
in
you have to have
Salt
black
Lake,
people
right?
in order to have jazz music?
Well, you have some black people, don't you?
I don't think so.
Well, sure you do.
I don't think so.
You're saying there's not one black person in Utah?
Maybe one.
That's absurd.
Maybe one. And they all play probably for the Utah Jazz. And even the Jazz are mostly white.
I'm going to look up. I've got questions.
Come on. You're telling me
Yeah,
Salt Lake.
right here.
What?
Visit Utah.com, a taste of Salt Lake's flourishing jazz scene.
Oh, stop.
Flourishing. It's not just solid, it's flourishing.
Now, I will say, in the photo of the band that they're showing, there is no black person.
Then the whole thing is out. That's like when you go to a sushi restaurant and there's a Mexican guy cooking. You're like, no. Or in this case, rolling. It doesn't work.
Black, please. Thank you. Apparently, Salt Lake has an innovative approach to jazz music, and there are lots of speakeasies and hidden bars with jazz music in Salt Lake.
Boy, that seems like that's like trying to make the case of the lakes in Los Angeles. What did they say? In innovative, that's code for we play something other than jazz with a bunch of white people. And there's maybe a bar where you can hear jazz music. That doesn't mean that jazz music's being played.
Is it possible it's innovative just because it's white people and not black people doing it?
Exactly.
I think they have to say that because they don't want to say, "Oh, we're
Come check
playing
out our
jazz."
white jazz
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to distinguish, right? You have to say something like, "It can't just be. It's not real jazz because you're not black." So
By the way-
it's innovative jazz.
By the way, according to this,
New age.
the number one jazz bar in Salt Lake is called Keys on Main, and it's a piano bar. That's not a jazz bar. It's a dueling piano bar. That's not jazz. And by the way, guess what the two piano players are in these photos? What? Yeah. Let's just say this. I know that I'll probably
This is
have to
the
join
number
a
one
white
jazz
supremacist
bar
gang in Salt Lake, and that's what you walk into?
I think we got a close battle here.
Jazz and Lakers.
We really do.
Is there another one that we're missing?
What, bar?
No, no. Trust me, we're not missing anything jazzy about Salt Lake. Is there another mascot/region that is equally as egregious as Lakers and Jazz?
There are no Giants in San Francisco or New York.
What did that refer to originally?
I don't know.
Like the New York Giants? Does that have something to do with the buildings?
Or just like the mythical creature like the Giants, like calling someone the Ogres or something?
Can
don't
I
know.
offer the Cyclones of Iowa State?
Not a lot of twisters out there in that direction?
Really?
A cyclone?
Wasn't that just a
Is it like a tornado?
No.
No?
They're two different things.
Their logo is a tornado.
Let's go, Mr. Midwest. Tell us.
Well, I don't. A cyclone would not be called. Otherwise, it would be called a tornado. It's different.
Well,
it's a different storm.
Are they different storms, or is a tornado a type of cyclone?
All I know is the little Iowa State mascot is the little bird thing in the middle of a tornado.
I just always thought cyclones were tropical, and Iowa is indeed not tropical.
This is a good point. Now, I'm not looking up cyclone.
I thought cyclone was just like air that rotated in a circular direction.
I hate to tell you this, but it does feel like a cyclone is basically a hurricane, and that would not. That would not be.
Why are they called the? Why are they the cyclones?
You got something there. Yeah, I was ignorant. I kind of thought the cyclone was just another word for tornado.
Thought it was swirling air.
But it sounds like maybe that's just another one for cyclone versus hurricane, which would not. I do know this about Iowa. Not a lot of hurricanes in Iowa.
The YouTube has pointed out there's not a lot of Grizzlies in Memphis, nor are there a lot of Bears in Chicago, or Bulls in Chicago for that matter. I guess you have the stock market, Bulls and Bears, but that's more of a New York thing.
What's
Well, because the Memphis came from Vancouver.
Right, where it made sense to have Grizzlies.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the elephant, like the Crimson Tide in Alabama?
Good question.
What's that about?
I read a book on that, where that came from. And that was, I think, oh, God, I knew this at one point and I'm completely drawing a blank. But the elephant has nothing to do with the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, it's just separate.
It's separate.
Mascot.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we got to get to this. We got a lawsuit.
Boy, it's
Let's hate, man.
It's a doozy because names are being named, and everyone right now is like, "Oh my gosh!"
Names you know.
Names you know.
Media, sports media personalities, catching strays, or are they? Next on the Fan.
I'll get it in.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
Early 1900s, Alabama wore all white. They didn't have red. They were the all whites. White helmets, white jerseys, white pants.
Way.
And they were, shocker. And they were playing Auburn, and it's a steel city down there, so the ground is iron rich. And by the time they got done playing, the white uniforms were completely stained with and it looked red. And one of the sports writers said they looked like a Crimson Tide. They fought through the mud and the stained jerseys, and they rolled over Auburn. And that guy wrote about it, and it became the Crimson Tide. And the same thing with the elephant. In like the 1930s, a writer wrote an article about them beating Ole Miss, and he talked about how Alabama was big, strong, tough, physical. And in the article, he put, "Hold your horses, Mississippi. The elephants are coming to stamp you out."
Ooh.
And because of that one article, the next year, everyone at Alabama started like thinking that they calling them like a pack of elephants, and it stuck.
Okay.
Back then, dude, it was always like one sports writer.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing with like the Civil War, Oregon. There was always one sports writer like the 1930s that had a clever line, and everyone was like, yeah.
A cheeky turn of phrase turns into the school moniker all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So we've got lawsuit news. This is a big one.
Oh, yeah. It is a big one because
This
it's not
one-
many you get this many big names thrown under the bus.
Fox Sports. Under the gun. Former hairstylist there is accusing multiple people of misconduct,
And
including
for once, we've got a female at the center of this.
Joy Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Is at the center of this.
And look, all of these are allegations, so let's let it play out. But let's just say there's been a lot of rumors in the industry about Joy Taylor and how she came to be Joy Taylor, and the lawsuit certainly points out some of those rumors.
Yeah, this woman is claiming that Joy Taylor made racially insensitive comments towards her. She is also accusing Taylor of sleeping with pretty much everyone at Fox Sports.
Yeah,
to advance her career.
In there, we've got Shannon Sharp, Emmanuel Ocho, Ocho, excuse me.
Not Colin Cowherd.
Not Colin Cowherd.
Which is good.
Who was nothing but professional.
Yeah, Colin.
We saw.
Tell you what, Colin's looking good.
Boy, and there's a lot of names there, and Colin's name is mentioned like one, and she says that he was a gentleman
and professional.
And you know Colin, you know when he saw that lawsuit and Skip Bayless is named and all these guys, he's like, not me, not me, not me, not me, yes.
Well, but
he said something on his show today like, and everyone who knows me knows I made positive forts in the sports media. And it was like, yeah, we know what you're talking about today.
Yeah.
Good for
well,
you.
You know what, though? Knowing him a little bit, he is very aware of that. Like, he is not dumb. He will not. I just. What am I trying to say?
He wouldn't allow himself to get involved in something like that?
None of that surprises me that he is not named in this because that dude he's buttoned up. Like, he's not. He ain't getting involved in that.
The two that come off really, really bad in this, well, there are three. One, Skip Bayless, Charlie Dixon, who was basically the head of programming for Fox Sports, and Joy Taylor.
Yeah, but see, I don't care about Charlie Dixon because I don't know who he is.
No, but apparently...
I want the juice on, like, Skip Bayless. What did Skip do?
All right, so Skip apparently is a filthy son of a bitch, according to this,
No
allegedly.
way.
So, look, apparently, Joy's getting around.
Yeah.
Skip apparently is upset that he was the one that didn't get to, whatever.
He wanted to be with Joy?
I think
and
Skip,
she wouldn't even sleep with him?
Yeah. So this was Joy's like personal hairstylist.
Poor little guy.
And so when Joy got the job of working with Skip and Shannon, which according to this, she only got the job because of sleeping with the old white guy that made these decisions, the Dixon guy.
Isn't she still on there? Joy Taylor?
No, she's now on the one with
Ocho.
Well, I know, but she's still on Fox Sports.
Yes.
Correct. She was on today.
And we'll see how long that lasts. This is going to be problematic for her. So Skip Bayless basically attempts for the better part of a year and a half to sleep with this hairstylist. He would grab her butt after haircuts. He would press against her.
Is Skip married?
Yeah. So
to his loving wife, Ernestine.
Ernestine.
Yeah. So this is one of the alleged things. So he would give her lingering hugs after each haircut, putting his body against her own, pressing against her breasts. He'd be the end to kiss her on the cheeks. Her name is Faraji. Faraji?
I think it's Nushin Faraji.
Yeah. She's a Muslim woman. Mm-hmm. And it says that she developed issues in an ovary that she when she told him this, might have been cancerous, and she thought that would get Skip to go away. No, Skip then offered her $1.5 million, assuming that she would need money for the cancer treatment to have sex with her. When she rejected the offer, he pointed out the fact...
$1.5 million?
1.5.
He's basically like, I can help you with your cancer treatment, and also you can sleep with me, and that'll be something that works for everyone.
Yes. So she rejects the offer and points out that they're both married. To which he responded with,
this might take the cake.
This might take the cake.
What did he say?
So she said, Skip, stop, you have a wife. Mr. Bayless responded with, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 or 4 wives? She then responded that her father was dead, to which Mr. Bayless took taken aback, and she made an excuse to leave.
Wow.
Yeah. Bye. Now, Joy Taylor, apart from allegedly sleeping with anyone and everyone to get a job, multiple jobs. Her husband, by the way, it talks about in there that her husband, once he found out about that this is what she was doing, he divorced her, which they did get divorced.
Wasn't she married to someone famous?
She was married to former Phoenix Suns head coach Earl Watson.
Yes.
Oh, Earl Watson, that's right.
Yeah.
Former Blazers assistant coach, perhaps?
I believe you're correct.
Or maybe former Blazer Earl Watson?
Yeah. At one point, she alluded to...
She's married now, though.
I don't think Joy Taylor's married.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I think she's single now.
She's single.
Okay.
So the hairstylist points out to Joy that Dixon, the Charlie Dixon, the FS1 head honcho, is sexually harassing her, at which point Joy Taylor tells her to get over it. She's the reason Joy Taylor has a job, and Joy Taylor is the reason why she has a job, because Joy would always request her to be the hairstylist, and pointed out that that Charlie Dixon could get rid of both of them if they made trouble. So she claims she went to Joy Taylor for help, and Joy Taylor told her, get over it. It gets worse. So then she points out to Joy Taylor that she should not be doing this, that she could get in a lot of trouble, that Mr. Dixon is indeed powerful and you don't want to cross these lines. To which Joy Taylor told her, I'm not worried about it. I'm powerful too. And she claimed that once she was done with Mr. Dixon and could no longer benefit from him, that she was going to then accuse him of forcing himself upon Joy Taylor and get him fired.
Diabolical.
Yes.
Yeah, that as soon as this thing goes south for Joy, she's just going to, play the old, play that card.
Wow.
Yeah, because at one point she's sleeping allegedly with the head of programming, the Dixon guy. And
what's his first name?
Charlie, I believe.
Okay, I got to look him up.
He looks exactly what you'd think an old rich white guy would look like. So she warned her that it was a bad idea to be sleeping with Emmanuel Acho and Dixon at the same time. And that's when Joy Taylor allegedly said, don't worry about it. I'm also now powerful. Once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through with her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her, and she would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women talent. Because it also says in the lawsuit that, and it doesn't say who it is, some people are kind of speculating, but another talent was up for renewal. Mr. Dixon went to her and said, hey, if you want to stay here, you got to sleep with me. She said no and got the heave-ho. So the hairstylist is claiming that it was known that if you wanted to get your own show or you wanted to keep moving up in the world,
there's a certain hoop you can
jump through. And when you didn't jump through it, you were gone.
Boy, Charlie Dixon looks like a goober.
Yes. Oh, it also says...
And he's still there?
Yes, I believe he is still there.
For now.
She also said in there that there was another guy, a Bobby Diaz, who was in charge of... He was a studio guy, and that he would sexually harass everybody, and everyone complained against him, but no one would fire him because he supplied all the talent with cocaine.
God, man. This is great.
Remember when that ESPN, those guys have all the fun book came out?
It's like that.
It's like that, but just 20 years later when we all have social media and, yeah.
Dude, it's bad. Honestly, I think Joy Taylor looks if these are true, Joy Taylor looks the worst. And if this comes to light and it's true, I don't know how she has a career. I mean, look,
less so the sleeping around, more just the... Well, I don't know. Is it that...
Dude, when you're this big women empowerment sort of gal, and it turns out that all you were doing was sleeping your way to the top,
well, again,
and then you had a plan, and then
alleged.
and that's what I'm saying, alleged, and then you had a plan to throw someone under the bus. But I would also like to point out something here too.
See, I just don't think you should lose your career over someone just alleging that in a lawsuit.
No, you shouldn't.
That needs to be proven.
Exactly, but this is my point. Anytime that, and by the way, absolutely, it should be, when a man gets accused of something, that stains him forever. And people believe all women, right? Why is it when a woman then makes an accusation against another woman, she doesn't get that same sort of benefit of the doubt?
Why would you sleep with Emmanuel Acho?
Because she wanted to be on the, is it Speak Now?
I think, they shortened it to Speak.
Yeah.
But,
And by the way, I
think it was Speak for Yourself.
She got that job. She's on there. So basically, she's alleging that she slept with Shannon Sharp to get the Undisputed role, that she slept with Dixon to get all the roles, and that he's the one that forced her upon everyone, and then she slept with Acho to get that. I mean, you just, again, if proven true, you have no more credibility and you're kind of cooked. And some people are pointing out that she was on her show today dressed a little more conservatively than Joy Taylor normally dressed.
Oh, yeah. The girls weren't going out for a spin today.
It's a juice. I mean,
that's scandalous.
It is a scandalous lawsuit.
Joy Taylor.
So this is just one of those where a lot of people would whisper and there were a lot of rumors, but it's just rumors. People rumor about everybody. And unfortunately, a lot of women get that they slept their way to the top. That's the de facto horse crap. Like, people do this about, like, Mina Kimes is one of the best in the business. And you still see her knuckle dragging idiots all the time. Oh, she probably slept her way to the top. But in this case, if it's true, if it's true, I don't know how they keep her on. Her reputation would be absolute mud, especially with the telling someone else to get over it. That guy is the reason why we have jobs. And the damning one is I'll just throw him under the bus and accuse him of rape. If that can be corroborated.
That's the worst part.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting is you and I have worked in sports media for quite some time.
Yes.
And we know this, we know this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yes. It does happen. But you're right about the Mina Kimes of the world. And there's a lot of great women sports broadcasters that certainly do not sleep with people just to get. I mean, they're just talented. They're good and they're professional, right?
Yep.
But all along, you know that there are people like Joy Taylor, if this is true.
And there's people like Charlie Dixon that will take advantage of it.
Charlie Dixon, I feel like, is a dime a dozen.
Sure.
I feel like that's every executive ever. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's unfortunately it's sad, but that's true. It's the power thing.
Yeah.
But the women in broadcasting, sports broadcasting, it's a very interesting one because I think a lot of them have to fight that battle. Mm-hmm. Of you're just in this business because you slept with someone or you're hot.
Yes.
And that's got to be a tough thing. But I've always kind of wondered, and I always give the benefit of the doubt, right? It's like, oh wow, she's really good.
Yep.
But you just wonder which ones are the ones, because you know they're there. Mm-hmm. Which ones are the ones that truly are sleeping their way to the top, because you know they're there.
According to
and
this
now we finally know possibly that one of them is Joy Taylor. And you've mentioned credibility. Can I ask a question about Fox Sports? Is anybody credible on there?
It's getting rough.
There's not much credibility to be had.
They lead the world in sports hot takes.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. It's entertainment. It's less journalism. It's not journalism.
If this ends up being true, or they buy their way out of this, I think this is going to be really hard for Charlie Dixon and really hard for Joy Taylor. And it makes Skip Bayless look like an absolute creep.
And he's not even there anymore, right? Or is he still on there?
I think he is.
I think he's still there.
Yeah.
What's he do? I thought his show got canceled.
Doesn't he do, isn't it like Skip and Shannon or something like that?
No,
they blew that
they
up.
broke up?
Yeah.
I think Skip is, I thought he was still there, but I could be wrong.
I want to say that dude retired.
Right now he's explaining to his wife, I swear, honey.
To his wife, Gladys. Or what was her name?
Ernestine. That's her actual name.
I didn't do it.
Oh, man.
I didn't do it. You know, my favorite part is just Colin sitting above it all. He just like slides that over to his wife and be like, hey, there you go.
That dude's all business.
Yes. Smart.
Yep. All right. Oh, yeah. So Bayless
Married Ernestine Sclafani in 2016.
He left Undisputed.
By the way, she's pretty hot.
No, it doesn't. He said he left Undisputed and Fox Sports last year, 2024. So as of right now,
he's out.
I
But
think he's out.
He's still under contract.
Okay. So
they must have just paid him a bunch of money to
well,
walk
and
away.
maybe Skip just goes away now. Which
how old is that guy?
I think he's in his 70s.
Is he really that old?
Yeah, he's in great shape. Yeah, he's 73.
Whoa. Call it a day, Skip.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of did.
Well, he might at this point. So
where are we going?
I think to break.
You guys want some sports?
Sports. Yeah,
All
want
right.
to hear about our Bobcats or Bison?
Yeah, 28-25. Good little ball game coming down to the wire for all the marbles.
What?
FCS championship. Okay, I have one more story for you. Should this plane have turned around? Here's Buck.
This is a Wild Card Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brian Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, the Blazers just wrapped up in Detroit. They dropped the third game of their 5-game road trip. They fall 118-115 as Chauncey Billups returns to the Motor City. In that game for the Blazers, you had for the Pistons, Cade Cunningham leading the way with 32 points. Meanwhile, 36 for Ant Simons. He also added 9 assists. It was Black Monday in the NFL. A couple head coaches getting their walking papers. Patriots didn't even wait till Monday. They fired head coach Gerard Mayo on Sunday after the Pats beat Buffalo to play their way out of the number 1 overall pick. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson is out as well, but the Jags going to retain general manager Trent Baalke. In New York, Giants ownership will retain both head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Schoen. The Chicago Bears have reportedly asked for permission to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy about the Bears' open head coaching position, but McCarthy says he'd prefer to stay in Dallas. In local personnel news, the Seahawks fire offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after just one season with the franchise. Seattle finished 14th in total offense this season and 18th in scoring. In college football, Oregon running back Jordan James and defensive tackle Derek Harmon have both declared for the NFL draft. Now wide receivers Tez Johnson and Trayshawn Holden have as well. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your
have some Ernestine Bayless news.
Skip Bayless is Miss.
Ernestine Sclafani.
Yeah.
She's from Long Island. Do you know that she once wrote a book? So she's been a successful PR agent.
She may be.
He might need her now.
Putting in some overtime.
Media relations expert, as it were. And she wrote a book in 2019. It is called Balls.
That's it? Just called balls. It's just called balls.
It's called Balls: How to Keep Your Relationship Alive When You Live with a Sports-Obsessed Guy.
Oh, okay. No, I mean,
probably a pretty funny read at this stage of the game.
I would assume. I guess one of the ways to keep it alive is have your husband make a lot of money and then try to sleep with hairdressers for $1.5 million. So,
or a poon-obsessed guy.
Yeah.
Hey, he was just obsessed with helping her with her cancer
That's
issues.
right. That's right. And making really inappropriate Muslim jokes. Good work. It works, Skippy.
Wait,
allegedly.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Wasn't that Joy that said that?
No.
No, that was Skip.
Oh.
When she said that that they were both, one, I have cancer possibly, and
but her
two,
dad.
we're both married, and he said, doesn't your dad, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 or 4 wives?
The hairstylist was also claiming, I read, that Joy Taylor said some racially insensitive things as well.
Yes.
But anyway.
She does have a real Barbara Streisand look about her.
Yeah, Ernestine, she looks good.
Yeah.
She looks like she's not to be messed with.
No.
I'm guessing Skip's, he's deep in it right now with her.
And dare I say, and this is a little surprising for Skip Bayless, age appropriate. If you'd have told me Skip Bayless was married,
yeah,
I would have, Skip 73, I would have gone wife's 39.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But no, she looks age appropriate. She looks great.
Yeah, that is a bit of an upset. That
Yes.
Bayless is with someone his age.
Yeah.
Because he does seem like the type that's so vain he would need that 25-year-old arm candy.
100%. And if she does leave, then I'm sure that arm candy is coming.
By the way, you know where they met?
I do not. It says they've been together, though, for like almost 2 decades.
Their first encounter was on the set of Cold Pizza.
Oh. All right, well.
Do you remember that show?
I do remember that show. Is it possible that Skip
Crawford?
Bayless, like in
Crawford?
in his private life, is like great? Is he like a super cool guy to hang out with?
No.
I don't know.
What?
They've been married. They've been together.
Why would
for like,
you say that?
I don't know.
What?
If you had to take someone, here's a good one for you. So, no, I can't stand Skip Bayless. I think we can all agree. Skip Bayless, Stephen
He's a donkey.
all of those. Doug Gottlieb.
Ugh.
What is the?
It's like douche central
It
over
is
there.
douche central. But what would be the if you had to take a flyer and say there's a chance that off the mic, behind closed or away from the studios, you're just sitting down having beers. Which one of them would you say is most likely for you to be like, you know what, that guy's all right?
Who are my choices?
Any of those hot take douches.
The Fox Sports guys?
Yeah, it's just anyone in our line of work that's like that. Like
Stephen A., Shannon, Skip.
Sure. Yeah, all those guys.
McAfee, including him.
Yeah, you want to go McAfee, you want to go McIntyre, you want to go who's
Nick Wright?
McAfee's not a hot take guy, is he?
He's a
he's
some
a big
type of guy.
personality, but
Yeah.
he's not really a hot take.
Nick Wright, who looks like a weird vampire, like all of those guys.
He could
Acho.
be. I bet you
Peter Vesey, maybe.
Nick Wright could be. Peter Vesey's long dead.
No.
Yeah, he is.
No, dude, I follow him on Twitter.
Peter Vesey's alive?
Yes, and he's just as outlandish as always.
Isn't he 115?
I don't think so.
Are
I
you
see him all the
serious?
time.
He's 81.
You really thought Peter Vesey was dead?
Yes.
No.
I remember him from like the 80s.
Still out there.
I bet you Nick.
Jason Whitlock, maybe.
No, he's a douche.
Now, Whitlock, did you see his comments today?
Oh, what a
Because
Whitlock.
he worked with Joy at Fox Sports
Yes.
1.
Yeah.
And he basically said that he didn't want to include himself in any of that because he knows what would have happened if he was around that great rack so much. And he talked about her lovely peanut butter skin as well.
What is the matter with this?
Yeah.
Did he really do that?
Oh, yeah. If you do a quick search of Whitlock on your Twitter, it'll be the first thing that comes up.
Oh, my gosh.
Jesus, man. I'm going to say that Nick Wright could be okay.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm looking at the Whitlock stuff. Holy jeez.
And look at the graphic they used to talk about it. You see that?
Whoa. Yeah. Dude.
Can we say that? I don't even know if we can say that.
This is literally one of his tweets is, "This is why I didn't want Joy Taylor on my show at Fox Sports. That big rack of hers and that peanut butter skin. I know what I'm capable of." Holy Jason Whitlock, buddy. You think you're doing yourself a favor by saying, I didn't have anything to do with it? What are you doing?
And also presuming you have a chance with Joy Taylor.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty presumptuous. Isn't he a fat blob?
Yeah, well, I guess he just assumes if anybody needs a show, they'll do it, but...
Boy. And then he said, someone walked me through what was inappropriate, what I just said. God, Jason Whitlock.
I'm going to say Nick Wright could be all right. You're saying just having a beer?
Just having a beer.
Gottlieb, no. Bayless, no. Whitlock, no. Who else is on there?
Shannon Sharp?
No.
Stephen A?
I can't handle Shannon Sharp. Screaming A could be okay, I bet.
You think?
Yeah, maybe. If he's just...
Oh, man, I don't know. He may be the worst
if he just,
of the lot.
Just hanging out talking...
Oh, man.
He could be all right.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's a bold move. You got to pick someone. Or maybe you don't. Maybe they're all just
I'll
like
pick
that.
Nick Wright.
Nick Wright.
He just seems like a sports douche, you know?
Seems like a vampire. Creeps me out.
Well, we have to go now.
We do have to go.
Oh, should we go then? Should I? Oh, waiting on me. We'll be right back to wrap it up on The Fan.
The definitive podcast for Oregon Ducks